Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Three in the Keystone, episode 46. Guys, we're getting into some brutal territory with numbers. So we
I don't
got to
even know who
call.
would be 46. Yeah.
What'd you say?
I don't even know who would be a
Hey,
46.
we're gonna have to go the Andy Pettit episode.
I haven't been looking anybody up lately, so I didn't have one.
I think
But
there's a couple weird numbers. Again, 46 being one of them, but you get into the 50s, you're okay for a little while, but high 40s, it's
well, a quick Google search here has led me to NFL number 46 is Doug Plank, Lou Grutza, and the one and only Herm Edwards.
Okay, there you go. There's a Philly tie there. Philly connection.
There's
Was
some
Lou
good
Grossa, was he a kicker?
I think he was.
Yeah, because the award's named after him.
Right. It's the same.
But there's some good ones in baseball. Seltzer, Paul Goldschmidt,
Yeah.
Don Mattingly.
Andy Pettit's a Hall of Famer, though. No, Don Mattingly was not 46. I looked him up. I was like, I don't think he wore that. Maybe for a period of time, but that wasn't his main number.
What about
known to be in there?
What about Gaylord Perry?
What's wrong with Andy Pettit? Andy Pettit's
You messed up, dude. You messed up.
Shout out to Andy Pettit.
I'm just kidding. Pettit's good. Yeah, he's a good player.
We got an action-packed episode for you guys tonight. Very, very excited about our third segment. We are going to, one of our most popular drafts was our 90s music draft. But tonight, my topic, boys, as we go into TV theme draft. So very, very excited about that. In addition, we'll talk some NBA, some Philadelphia sports. But I have a confession / hypothetical I need to throw at you guys before we even get started.
What do you got?
There's not even two of the same thing.
That's true. It's not a hypothetical. Let's say that.
So, I got a confession / trivia question.
I was invited to play in a member guest last week. So you play in 4-man teams.
Member guest.
It's all stroked, and it's 2 best balls out of 4. So you play the whole of the 4 people on the team. You take the 2 best scores.
Guest is
Right?
lost already, but go ahead.
You got me, guest?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So we get up to it's a course that's walking only. So we have caddies. So we get to the first tee, and I say, I'll keep the score, and I grab the scorecard. Caddy goes, I got you today. He's like, I got everything for you. So he's like, all right, I give him the scorecard. I'm a math whiz, as you guys remember from our days at Carroll. So we go through the round, and we're playing decent, and we get in, and I said, we finished somewhere between 13 and 15 under. I was sure of it. And then when we sat down, I did the numbers, and I was like, we're 14 under par. That was a good day. So they started announcing the winners of the tournament, and they go 5th place, 10 under. They go 4th place, 13 under. 3rd place, 16 under. It wasn't us. What the fuck? I'm like, the caddy screw us? Like, 2nd place, 18 under. I'm like, caddy screwed us over. Like, he didn't keep the score right. They go 1st place, 21 under, and it was us.
Dude, you know a lot of cheaters out here.
Yeah.
Chestnut Hill guy and this dude.
My head went like this. And what do you do in that moment?
Nothing.
Yeah, you couldn't, or nothing. We could do.
Yeah, what can you do?
So I looked at the scorecard afterwards. Every 4-foot putt that we missed, he just counted it.
So we gave you gimmies without you making it.
Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to be the one to keep your score, though. The caddy was there for that, so it wouldn't be like you were on the hook for lying.
Yeah, but you're responsible. Like, I don't know. I felt bad about it. I felt dirty.
It's not a great situation there, guess. I want to know what business you 4 had missing 7 4-footers.
That's well, it wasn't a scramble. It was play your own ball.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, over the course of the round, like maybe it wasn't all 4-footers. Like my one partner had like a 30-footer that hit the pin and bounced out. He counted that.
Like, listen, you're the guest there, so you have there's no blood on your hands.
Right.
I agree. And listen, the last thing the head pro wants to do is have you come up after he wrote out all the prizes and be like, listen, that's not right. Like, he doesn't want that. So it's just a horrible situation.
Member guest must have been the cousin.
But let's jump into segment 1, boys. The first domino has fallen for the Philadelphia 76ers as Doc Rivers was
talk about these guys.
Yeah, this will be the last week, hopefully.
I wish we could say the same. I don't think I think it's going to be a a Sixer summer because the Phillies
Yeah.
certainly ain't doing nothing. To
Yeah,
make it
it'll
look
be
about.
it's better than talking about the Phillies. I was at
You
that
want-
game yesterday, which was Sunday afternoon for the listeners. Oh my God, what a snooze fest that game was. Jesus.
So I was there Saturday for a bachelor party, and I honestly don't remember any of the game. It was one of those deals where we tailgated, went in. I missed the Grand Slam. Schwarber had the Grand Slam in the first inning, didn't see it. Heard it, didn't see it. And then the rest of it was all blur. I don't remember anything that happened in that game.
Actually, I'm going down for my first game for work on Wednesday. So hopefully it will be a little bit better than what you guys got going on.
I mean, it was a good environment. I just don't remember the game.
Let me ask you this, Chris, and I'll ask you, Adam, you got to do it on Wednesday. Chris, did you get a hot dog?
No.
We got hot dogs, and let me tell you, the size of these glizzies was insane. They were so obnoxiously thick. I've never seen hot dogs like this at the bank before, man.
Yeah,
They
like them all. We like them thick.
they got a new hot dog guy. Here.
Quality dog.
Thick dog.
These are obnoxiously fat dogs, man.
Yeah, but does that make it? That makes it good. Usually, a fat dog's a good
Yeah, you
dog.
get a little juice in the thickness.
I like the cheap, like as at the ballpark, the cheap skinny one where you can wrap the potato bread around it and like almost like scrunch it up.
Oh
like-
man,
like
you gotta
it's
go
like
for the thickness, bro.
It's
You
like
don't
a
like the
pig in a
thickness?
blanket almost. I like that. I don't like a
Like-
thick glizzy, dude. It's too much. It's too much meat.
I go for the girth.
The potato roll is so good though.
It is a good
Potato
roll.
roll's elite. That's an elite roll.
Oh yeah.
Agreed.
Maybe
We
we
got a
do
little-
a segment on the this summer when we nothing to talk about. We'll talk about stadium food.
Top,
Okay. That's a good one.
top 5 stadium foods.
But let's get back on track here. Sixers relieved Doc Rivers of his duties after 3 seasons with the team, 154 and 82 regular season record, but obviously never got the team past the second round. Many have linked James Harden and his wishes to not play under Doc Rivers as the reason for the firing. Joel, from everything we were told, was very upset about the move. But initial thoughts on the firing of Doc Rivers?
Good riddance.
Yeah, it's a year too late.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like he did a decent job for a good part of this year, but Missoula's getting out coached big time right now by Spoelstra, and we were acting like well, Rivers is doing a pretty decent job here in this series, isn't that until game 6 and 7. And I think at game 6 and 7, he got out coached, putting Robert Williams in that spot in the starting lineup. We didn't know how to adjust to it, even though Rivers said that we had game planned for it, which was obviously BS. So if you're having those crunch time moments and you're getting out coached by Missoula, obviously, and I don't hear his name really being mentioned for a lot of other jobs. I know Milwaukee was possible because he got some local ties there, went to Marquette, and is from Chicago and in the Midwest area there. So, but they apparently went a different direction, Bucks.
Yeah, well, they're saying Nurse, right?
Yeah. Well, Nurse and Kenny Atkinson and
Another assistant.
Adrian Griffin,
Adrian Griffin from Toronto.
who was a nice player in NBA 2K or NBA Live, I think 01, I think it was. He had a
Lefty,
nice
huh?
little
Lefty, I think.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, nice little game.
It was tough. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, I've seen on Twitter a lot of people being apologetic to Doc and sympathetic towards the firing and saying, "Oh, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault." Look, at the end of the day, let's not pretend like we'd ever liked Doc Rivers as the coach of this team. And Chris, you said it. I mean, we thought he should have been out last year. So I'm not heartbroken at all. I think we said last week that we thought that he would be the one to be out.
He's not a good leader of men. Did you see that thing that Rasheed Wallace said on one of those pods that he was on, and he was talking about Doc, and he basically was like, when he was with Boston for that cup of coffee in I think it was 08,
Right.
and he basically said that there was times when they'd have a huddle and Doc would say one thing, and like him and Rondo would go into the player huddle of the guys on the court at the time and be like, "Man, damn all that. This is what we gonna do," because it didn't make sense to him. So like, and they also had who was the other? Oh, we had Harden. Harden sat there and had that quote unquote cryptic tweet, which wasn't really that cryptic. Did you guys see that the other day? How he said like sometimes experts ain't always experts.
Yeah. Do you think that was a Doc?
Yeah, absolutely. It was the thing he got fired.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was at like the media or something. I didn't even put two and two
took
together
that
there.
Yeah, I took that as him coming at Rivers, especially because previously when he said about the relationship being quote unquote okay and all that kind of stuff, I don't think he vibe with that dude after he got here. His style of play and I mean, not that he's clearly at fault for a lot of this too, but
Do you think that the firing comes from the Harden issues with Doc?
That's part of it.
yeah.
I mean,
And
it's gotta be.
and the scary thing about it is there was reports that before he got fired that the staff thought Harden was like, unhappy or whatever. But a couple things out of that. He's always the one that was basically like bragging, like I'm doing something that I'm that's just for the team. It's not really what I would normally do, but this is the role that they want me to play, and I'm playing it. And then all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to do this role. And it's like, well, which is it? And the scary thing about that for me is how much say are they giving James Harden right now? That's the scary thing to me, because if that's the case, Morey is going to continue this love fest he has with this dude. And I'm getting a little scared, honestly.
Daryl Morey's obsessed with him.
I'm getting really nervous about this. This is starting to feel like he's going to hitch his wagon to this guy again. And it's 5 years too late.
It's incredibly scary. The Sixers re-signing James Harden to any sort of multi-year deal at this point.
Any deal, period.
Would you take him back if, let's say, I know he opted out already, but let's say he opted in for $35 million next year? Would you? I don't see.
No.
What's the harm in that, though?
Because you can get away with having one guy that's a loser on your team. You could hide that. You can't get away with multiples.
Do you think they're any better without him and not being able to replace him?
I don't know that yet. You don't know what the creative plan is that they have if he leaves. So I don't know.
It's that old song, should I stay or should I go? Right? If he stays, there'll be trouble. If he goes, there'll be double. Because if he stays, you check the boxes of, okay, you appease Joel Embiid, you keep making the playoffs. You'll have some runs in the regular season where they'll fool us. They'll, you know what I mean? They'll show some flashes and we'll say maybe this year's different. But they're still not quite in the championship contender category, right? But if he goes, now what? Like, is Embiid going to be happy with the direction of the franchise? Is Tyrese Maxey going to be happy? What about the fans? Like, I don't necessarily think that losing James Harden is addition, like from nothing, is addition by subtraction. I think that would be the first of just multiple dominoes that would potentially fall for the Sixers returning to being a non-playoff contending team, let alone non-championship contending.
You don't think they'll make the playoffs with the roster they have?
No, I'm saying that's the road that they will go down if they lose Harden for nothing. Potentially then the next offseason, now you're losing Tobias Harris if you don't trade him for something. And then from that point, it's like, okay, Embiid's going to be pissed. He's going to be unhappy with the franchise. Maxey's potentially going to be unhappy with the franchise. All of a sudden, we're a loser organization.
Maxey ain't going to. When Maxey see that check he about to get, he'll be all right. He's not worried about it. I'd be shocked if he was that kind of. First of all, I don't think he's that kind of guy anyway. I think he's bought into this city. I think he's bought into this franchise. I don't think that he'd be a guy, especially not at this point in his career, where he would have that disdain for anything.
He's going to get a 4-year extension, so he's going to be locked in.
Yeah, I don't think. But I will say, out of your point, I think that if Harden I think the fan base is, I would say 90% in on Harden not being here. Now, when it comes to Embiid, I think that's where you'll have a legitimate split, where the fan base may have be split down the line as far as if they would entertain that or not. But I mean, I've already said here, I'm open to anything at this point in time. Other than Maxey, I think everybody, for my money's on the table as far as making this team better.
Yeah, I disagree. I think more people are against trading Joel Embiid. More people aren't ready because that's a white flag. That's
and you could be right there. Yeah,
you're starting over. I'm not in the camp of wanting to keep James Harden. Don't get me wrong. I do not think that it is a good move for the future of this organization to re-sign him. But I'm just saying for the immediate future, as in next season, I don't know what that does to this team to not have a James Harden and then also not necessarily replace him with anything. I don't know if that becomes almost like a poison pill where Now in 2 years, where are we? After, potentially a 41-41 season, 7 seed, you know what I mean? We're obviously not a championship contender kind of deal. After being in that category for, let's face it, the last, 4 years?
6.
5 years, realistically?
6. I'll say this, and I think this is what Chris is kind of referring to, and I would agree with him in this respect. They're a better team with James Harden on the roster for next year. Yeah. However, they're not a championship contender. And B, I don't want to watch that team again.
Thank you.
I have no interest in watching that basketball team. I'd rather watch Tyrese Maxey, DeAnthony Melton, whoever they add in these little pieces here or there, run around and do what they can and see what that team can do, than watch them run it back with James Harden at this point.
110% agree, Seltzer. I was about to say the same exact thing. As a season ticket holder, I'd rather invest again next year in a team that was 500, that played their ass off, and you could see it and had fun doing it, versus this team. This team, like, they're a Philly team, so we're gonna get behind them. They weren't a fun team. There was nothing good fun.
Season. They had a very, very good regular season.
But for me at least, I always felt like there were so many games of frustration where Harden would either disappear offensively, or like something just wasn't clicking. And it made it frustrating. And they were so good that they could get by against teams like, mediocre or bad teams. They can get by with that still. But as we know, when the rubber meets the road in the playoffs, you can't get by with that. And they didn't.
Right. We're all on the same page. Bringing Harden back keeps them as being a pretty good team, but it's status quo. So then we're probably going to take the conversation to this place anyway. But then that's why I'm in the camp of blow it up, because it sounds like we are right back to pre-tank Sixers, where we had the Andre Iguodala, Lou Will, Thad Young team that year after year was churning out those 6 seeds or whatever. But it was the same product on the floor that everybody got sick of, which is what led us to the tank.
Well, let me just add one thing. I'm not 100% saying I think that we're just as good if Harden came back next year, because to me, Harden's the kind of guy who, at this stage in his career, and I know you've seen the reports, the rumors about, a team, there's interest out there of at least a team that's out there that was willing to give him $200 million for the next 4 years. If that's us, or really anybody, he's getting the bag, and he's like, you'll see him when you see him. Like, I'm not convinced that he's going to even give 100% at that point in his career with that amount of money he's making. I'm not. And then if he doesn't, you're stuck. You can't trade that contract. Like that. Like, that's why this is so important. Like, you can't mess this up and give this guy more money, because what's going to happen is he'll be somewhere in the shadows at the Lilas or wherever he's going to be at, and we're not going to do well. Morey's going to get fired. He's the one that built it, messed it up, and someone else is going to have to rebuild it, and they can't, because they got 150 or whatever it is, some odd $1 million tied to Harden.
Couldn't have said it better. 100% agree.
That's what I'm afraid of.
So here's the flip side to this, right? We bring back Harden. We run it back with a team that was up 3-2 in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. And if you look at the landscape
with a new coach, with a new coach, potentially an upgrade. But the landscape of the East, the 2 teams that have been ahead of us, I know we're going to talk about them in the second segment. We're talking about a Boston team whose fan base they're looking at blowing this thing up as well. So you're looking at potentially a Boston team with a new coach that might be down one of their stars, either in Tatum or Brown, and you're looking at a Milwaukee Bucks team who might be without a Chris Middleton, also with a new coach. To me, it's almost like if you run it back with Harden, there could be the window might be cracked.
I don't have any faith in James Harden.
Nope, agreed.
I just don't. On and off the court, I don't have any faith in James Harden at this point in his career. If this was 2019, that's different. Right now,
Joel Embiid.
I don't see it. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, because to me and you had talked about it even last summer when we started the pod. It only takes one GM. And there's a lot of dumb GMs in the NBA right now that mean a lot of stupid things where after they do a trade or a signing, the media and even us are like, what were they thinking about? It only takes one guy to mess something up, one dude or GM in this sense to give him that money. And I don't care who it is. It just better not be us, because I'm telling you, whoever does it is going to regret it, and they're going to pay with their job.
I'm on everybody. We're all on the same side. What do we do then for next season without James Harden? Like, what's the answer though? Like, what do
we want, or what will happen?
What do you want? Because you guys have a better understanding of the cap than I do. So I don't know how we make this team better with the subtraction of James Harden.
I would look to trade Joel. That's what I would do.
So would I.
I'm probably a year early, maybe 2 years early. But I think he's peak value now. He's coming off an MVP.
He's the MVP. This is the most value you're ever going to get.
Wait, because we're gonna get to that discussion. Take that off the table for now, Adam. Just go into next season without James Harden only. What can we bring in?
You can't bring in much. There's not a lot to bring into it. You're running a team back with very little cap space. You may have a touch of money under the cap if James leaves. Not much.
The exception that we'd have would be 11.5. I think they said if Harden leaves, the amount of money we'd have.
$11.5 million exception. So you can get what did we get last year? PJ Tucker. So you're going
to get a guy like, not him specifically, but a guy like Kentavious Caldwell Pope or something like that, where it's just a guy that can play a little bit, but he's not going to put you over the hump.
Right. So we're potentially replacing James Harden just with Jaden Springer actually seeing the court.
I'd like to see Springer see the court, but yeah, for the most part, again, they're going to
draft picks, so they're not
right.
They're not getting anybody in the draft.
You're going to probably have to. I would think you'd have to trade Tobias. Morey last week at his press conference said that their plan B is they're going to have to be creative if Harden leaves. So they said they're comfortable with either plan. I don't know. Obviously, none of us know what that consists of, but I would imagine Tobias has to be in a trade. You can't. What do you? At that point, you really don't have it. You're going to have Embiid, Maxey, and then what? Tobias Harris again as your third option when we know he already can't do that.
I wonder if Harden leaves, if Tucker would be on the trade market, because I think they could get something for a PJ Tucker from a contender.
He might be like a package. Like if you want whoever, then you got to take PJ.
Yeah, something along those lines. I want to. Al, you have one more thing because I want to touch base on who you guys are looking for in the coaching search.
No, let's go there because we'll talk Embiid later. I'm assuming. So let's
go. Well, before you start that, Seltzer, I do want to start the. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere or not, but with the Rockets rumors and everything else, I know they have money for Harden. But somehow, some way, I want to start the Jalen Green train because I think Jalen Green is a really nice piece. He apparently is not happy about the Harden news.
I saw that today.
The fit wouldn't be well with him there with Harden and the rest of the young guys they have. I would love to be able to bring him in if we had to do a sign and trade. Now, let me ask you this. Can we do a sign and trade, even if it's so we still can offer him because of the bird rights, right? We can offer him the extra year and the extra $50 million or whatever it is to any other team, right?
Correct.
So could you do a sign and trade with those extra figures and still trade him to another team and have them inherit that bird right at that point?
Yes.
Okay. So then you could still do a sign and trade at that point, even if a team wants him that has the money for him.
Right. But there's no
as much urgency.
There's no reason that the Rockets don't need to trade anything for him. They have the space to get him.
Right.
It would just be if they wanted
extra space.
It would be if James Harden said, "I want an extra year."
Right.
I don't know why Houston would be anxious to do that. If they say here's 4 years, however much money, he's not going to get that anywhere else. So then Houston can just bring him in for under the cap and not have to trade anything. Now, if he wanted to go to Phoenix, which has also been rumored, Phoenix doesn't have the cap space. Phoenix doesn't have the cap space to take him in. So then the Sixers would do a sign and trade with Phoenix, which would likely bring Chris Paul to Philadelphia.
So I'm just again, it only takes one GM. Why is it James Jones still? Is he still the GM of the Suns?
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
I was going to say you'd have to be insane. Like they got so many. Phoenix is quietly has a lot of problems with like Ayton You got the Chris Paul situation at his age. Obviously, you have Durant and Booker, which you're going to build upon. But like, if they got Harden on top of that, so Durant wants to play with Harden again.
I guess that's what's rumored. I mean, I don't think Durant and Harden had beef. I think it was.
Yeah, Durant's a dog though, in a good way. Like, I don't think he's gonna. He watches the league, he watches these games. I don't know if I'd be shocked if he wanted to play with Harden.
They're gonna run Devin Booker out of town.
Yeah, like Harden. Yeah, you think Booker ain't getting the ball?
Yeah,
We already see what Harden does with Embiid and Maxey.
Let me tell you this: if James Harden goes to Houston, and the Sixers lost 2 second-round picks this year for tampering, the Rockets better get hit with tampering charges because this has been leaked since
Oh my god!
since Christmas.
yeah.
And apparently they were asking Udoka or candidates that were interviewing for coaches what they thought about James Harden and coaching James Harden while they were interviewing coaches a few months ago.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's like first round pick worthy as far as I'm concerned. Like you're in the middle of a season, not even the off season. Like you're in the middle of a year.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the tampering pays off.
Yeah. Let him go. I agree.
And it's funny because
Go
like him saying that he wants to go to a team where he can be quote unquote himself, and which is basically saying like I want to go to a team where I don't have to play second fiddle to anybody. I want to be able to do what I want to do. Obviously, he can do that in Houston, but he's not winning there.
No, not at all. And listen,
So-
he's past the point of his career where if you run the offense through James Harden, where you're winning because he's just too inconsistent. Again, we saw flashes. You saw
Right.
game 1 and game 4, you
Right.
saw flashes, but he couldn't do it for 7 games. He couldn't even do it for 3.
And he couldn't in the past either. Apparently, there's also a personal reason that they keep throwing around that he wants to go back to Houston potentially. I don't know what that is, but
I think it's he got his family and businesses down there. That's all that.
okay, yeah, because I've heard that for personal reasons he also would like to be at Houston and stuff like that. But you're right though. I mean, Woj tweet he broke that in Christmas Day.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into the coaching search. 6 names have been brought up, and it's pretty much been it's going to be one of these 6 is what we've been told. So it's Nick Nurse, Monty Williams, Mike D'Antoni, Sam Cassell, Mike Budenholzer, and Frank Vogel. Those are the 6 names that are brought to the table. I will say this. Originally, I was a little hesitant on Nurse, but I think Nurse is my guy. I thought 2 or 3 years ago he was the best coach in the NBA when he was with Toronto. I think the last few years he hasn't done as good of a job, but I think they've also lacked talent and flexibility. They've pretty much, how Toronto runs out all 6-8 guys, and I think that limits a little bit of what you can do offensively. There is a little history with Nurse and Daryl Morey. I think Nurse coached their G League team 10 years ago when they were in Houston. So there's a little bit of connection there. But a lot of the other names don't really intrigue me. I guess my number 2 would be Cassell. But again, he's unproven, and that's more of a feel and a fresh face and a fresh look more than anything else. So for me, I'm going to go Nurse because I think I've seen the potential of him to be a elite NBA coach.
Well, he already has been an elite NBA. I mean, he's a champion.
That's what I mean.
Right.
So but he
Okay.
was also independent. He was also in a fresh face when he got hired, just like Cassell would be. Cassell obviously has a lot of respect around the league. The word is that a lot of the players really like the guy in the organization. I don't think that'd be a bad pick, but I agree 100% with you, Seltzer. I think Nick Nurse would be the guy I would go with. And he used to be a hate the face guy for me. He will be again if he doesn't get hired. But Rivers was also, and he was here, so I guess
I just look at Nurse and some of the creative things defensively that he would do when he played the Sixers with the double teams, and I think that's great. My only issue is, and apparently this has come out, is him and Joel have really not gotten along.
No,
and I don't know if that'll change when they're together. But you look at the fact that Joel was a doc guy, and they got rid of his guy, and now you're bringing in a guy that he doesn't get along with. That can further expedite the Joel voyage out of here.
Bring in Nick Nurse. Bring him in.
Also, I was going to say, remember in that playoff series, both playoff series we've had with Toronto, Embiid and him were kind of button heads on the sides and stuff like that. So, I'll tell you what, if they if they try to bring D'Antoni in here, again, that's a sign that they're hitching the wagon to Harden. I'm hitching off the wagon as fast as I can.
Yeah, we might have to find a new team.
Yeah,
Dude,
we will.
that would now he's apparently he's another guy apparently is a really well liked guy. And to be like a 71-year-old white dude in the NBA and be well liked by majority of the players, that is a complimentary thing that to be able to say at this point for him. But that system has never won with him as a head coach. He's already done everything with Harden as a head coach. They didn't win together before. And, I don't know, Al, what do you think? I can't, like, that to me would be that's probably a tap out for me.
D'Antoni is dead last on my list. First of all, I didn't know he was 72 years old until this past
something like that, 70, 72.
He's 72. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
How are you going to run an offense predicated on getting up shots with Joel Embiid as the centerpiece of your offense and potentially Harden back as well? That's a nightmare. That's not happening.
And centers die in his offense.
Right. Not in 2023. That's not going to work anymore. So he's last for me. I'm out. I'm total. Dude, seriously, if he's named the head coach, I'm out on the Sixers. I will find a new team. I will become a Miami Heat super fan. Like, it's just it's not happening.
Miami Heat super fan. Let me go back to watching the Penn State.
Dude, I'll be right back.
Like the college basketball.
Yeah. So listen, I was on the Nick Nurse train for a while. I recently switched. I don't know if either of you guys read the interview that they did on Liberty Ballers with the guys over at the Toronto SB Nation website, and they gave a little bit
when he talked about the development.
They just gave a little bit of a look into like Nick Nurse as a coach and some of the things he does well and some of the things that he doesn't do well from a Raptors fan standpoint. And they were saying that the defense, the base defense of collapsing into the paint and then running out to close out on the shooters. The person who they interviewed was just saying basically that they got the impression that over a number of years the guys just got tired physically and mentally from running that defense all the time, and that they weren't able to sustain it, and that Nick Nurse is a big rely on your main guys and run them for 40 plus minutes a game. It was Pascal Siakam led the league in minutes for the last 2 years. Fred VanVleet was, I think, top 10 in minutes the last 2 years. So I don't think that Joel Embiid is necessarily going to be able to hold up under that kind of physical demand. The guy I want, I don't know too much about him philosophically as a coach. The guy at the top of my list right now, well, second on my list, and I'll say number one next, is Budenholzer. And the reason for me is because he took a mediocre Bucks team that was kind of stuck on the hump, and he was able to get them over the hump, and he won a title. So I want a guy with championship pedigree. I know Nurse has that as well. So Nurse is right under Budenholzer for me, but I'll take Coach Bud. I think they kind of rushed him out of there in these last 2 seasons. I know that that's a catastrophic loss on paper, but Giannis is hurt. Middleton's hurt. Like, I don't know necessarily how much you could put that on him.
Well, I've heard with Budenholzer, the thing is he's not unlike Nurse, unlike Cassell and some other guys, he's not a big player coach. So, you have a guy like that in this locker room, especially if Harden does come back. That may not be a great. I'm a little bit worried about that fit.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if he's not a player guy or can't really connect with players, those two especially, you really have to almost coddle to.
Yeah.
Also,
because
part of the knock on him is his lack of adjustments too, which is a Doc, kind of a Doc clone where Doc couldn't make adjustments. And realistically, Al, yes, he got Milwaukee over the hump, but if Kevin Durant's foot is not on the line in Game 7, Budenholzer gets fired that year. He gets fired right after that season because they were ready to get rid of him then and there, but they catch a break. He wins a title. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I don't think Milwaukee ever was enamored with the job that Budenholzer did, and I think that's why he got the quick hook. But in retrospect, maybe they did rush him out a little too quick because look at what Miami's doing now.
And the one thing about Nurse I wanted to go back to also as far as a negative is, which is shocking to me, but the folks up there said that they didn't think that he, especially the last year or so, was great with player development. And I thought that was a strength of his at one point. I mean, VanVleet got a bag with him as his coach. Siakam got a bag with him as his coach. They won rings. Boucher got he's carved out a career for himself with him as a coach. They've had guys I feel like have developed into solid players in this league under his watch. So I was a little bit surprised to hear that, but one thing he's great at is adjustments. So he definitely has shown that he can make adjustments during the season and in the playoffs, especially. And that's the main reason why that, and the fact that he has won a championship and has gone through the gauntlet to get there is definitely appealing for me.
Well, let me give you guys my number one real quick. Adam, you mentioned that look at what Miami's doing now, and let me give you guys some names here. Let me see if you recognize any of these names.
I know you're gonna get me.
Do you recognize Randy Embry?
No.
You recognize that name? Let me ask you about this guy. Let me ask you about Jorge Lozano. Do you recognize?
Oh, he used to be Pookie and them at the bodega in South Philly the one time.
How about Jeff Bangs? You recognize Jeff?
You're going Miami assistants. Chris Quinn's the number one.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I didn't even go assistants. Okay, Randy Embry is a scout. Jorge Lozano is the X-ray technician.
X-ray.
Jeff Bangs is the assistant athletic trainer. Let me tell you where I'm going.
Not to be confused with Jeff Bagwell for a Hall of Famer, baseball Hall of Famer.
Give me a guy from a winning culture and a winning organization who can bring that to this decrepit franchise. Give me Chris Quinn. Give me Malik Allen. Give me Cron Butler. Give me any of these guys that are in this Coach Spo coaching tree right now, because it's going to be a fresh face, a fresh look. It's going to be a fresh set of eyes, someone that hasn't been in that musty-ass building for the last 5 or 6 years.
Adonis Haslam. We could bring John Sakata off the front row at the Heat games.
Glenn Rice is a scout. Give me Glenn Rice. I'll take a little Glenn Rice. I'll take a little Anthony Carter. I'll take a little Bob Chalk Chaikin.
Listen, it never hurts to take assistant coaches from winning teams.
Listen.
Well, that's what Budenholzer was before he, what was it, when he was in Atlanta? I think he was an assistant there. And
no, he was San Antonio. He was with
San Antonio. Well, first San Antonio. Yeah, that's right. And then he went to Atlanta for head coach.
Yeah, he had coached in Atlanta.
Right.
Just what kind of fresh look are we going to get with Sam Cassell, with Monty Williams, with I just don't see it churning out. I don't know.
Again, philosophically, I don't know what they're looking for as far as, are they looking for a player coach or are they looking for a disciplinarian? If they're looking for a player coach, I would imagine Monty and Cassell are both high on the list. Monty, also having been here as a player and a assistant coach before, probably helps him. Obviously Cassell being there now, it's unfair to say, well, because he was with Rivers, that he has the same philosophy and ideas and leadership style that Rivers had, because we don't know that technically. And for all we know, the players could have been like, why can't you be the coach? I mean, who knows?
You don't know that, right? And that's true. That's a fact. However, as a student teacher, I learned a lot from my cooperating teacher. And for the first few years as a teacher, I used a lot of the same strategies and techniques that she used until I started to build my, you know what I mean? Get comfortable in my own skin.
100%.
And I'm afraid that that's going to be somewhat of what Sam Cassell will bring to the table.
It's very possible. I just, all things we've heard about him is, for the most part, has been positive, overwhelmingly positive since he's been here. So I got to just give them benefit of the doubt that what we hear makes sense, and it's what is the truth. And if that's the case, I think a lot of those guys, that might be the key to save Joel. Joel might say, well, if you're not going to have Cassell in here, if you're going to get rid of Doc, at least let Sam have the job. That might save him from wanting out. I don't know. Who knows?
Maury has said that the players will not have input on the coach.
I did see that. Yeah.
I'm not giving this franchise the benefit of the doubt with anything.
I mean,
Wasn't that interesting too that he said that? I feel like that was a weird statement.
Yeah, no, I mean, usually the players have some sort of input, or at least in the loop of what's going
Especially
on.
the superstar that you have, or stars that you have. Like that was
maybe it's a wake up call to him. Like, you're not performing. Like, why should we run this through you?
Can we talk about Embiid?
Dude, I got a couple things for Embiid if you want to go there. I
want to hear what you say about this, guest. I know, Adam, you already saw it on Instagram. I know I emailed it to you guys, but I just randomly saw it. Like, I saw a picture of Dak, and I thought to myself, is Joel Embiid the Dak Prescott of the NBA? Are they like parallels in their sports? Let me give you a little bit some numbers here. So Dak regular season 61-36, 66.6% completion percentage, 166 touchdowns, 65 picks. Playoffs 2-4, 63.4% completion percentage, 11 TDs, 5 picks. Joel, he drops from 27 and 11 to 24 and 10. All his shooting numbers go down, 28% from 3 in the playoffs. But the big one for me was Dak can't make it to the NFC Championship game, and Joel Embiid can't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid's a different level than Dak. As far as Dak's never been, I guess he's been in the MVP talk.
He was second one year, wasn't he? Second or third?
Maybe, but not consistently second, first.
And I would say not ever MVP himself.
Right.
Correct.
Rookie
So I
of
think
the
you're
year.
doing Joel a little disservice. I see the comparison as far as where he gets. To me, I was gonna say like, no, I can't even go there. That's too. I was gonna say Peyton Manning before Peyton broke through, but I don't think
Peyton was
Embiid's
in
on
a
that.
couple.
I don't think
Yeah.
Embiid's on that level yet.
I don't either. It's closer to Dak than Peyton.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, I actually don't mind the comparison because there are people out there who would argue that Dak should have been MVP, just like we were arguing that Joel should have been MVP all
But not
these years.
3 years.
Well, but I'm about to say, but then once he's gotten the award, we figure out that like guys that we were comparing him to probably are better than him over after all. And I think that's the same with Dak, the Jalen Hurts of the world. I mean, most recently I would say Hurts, but other guys over the years, they're all better than Dak.
Yeah.
Just like Jokic is probably better than Embiid.
Oh, you can drop probably guess.
I'm just trying to save some pride the little bit of pride I had left in that argument.
I got the game on in the background. Jokic just made the most insane shot.
Yeah, it's we all got to. I did want to bring up this. I'm not sure if you guys saw because obviously it's not going to happen, but just something for fun. Did you guys see I think it was on USA Today on Sixers Wire, the fake trade proposal that they threw out there as far as 4-way trade?
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah, so I was going to run it by you. So for folks who don't know, it would be between the Spurs, the Sixers, the Wizards, and the Rockets.
Oh
and
they're grouping us with that shit, that mess.
So it'd be centered around Embiid, the number 1 pick, Harden. They'll be the big players in the trade, but ultimately, the Spurs would get Embiid and Bradley Beal, and the 2025 second-round pick from the Rockets. Sixers would get the number 1 pick this year, which would be Wembanyama, Keldon Johnson, Doug McDermott, Jalen Green, a 2025 first-round pick from the Rockets, and a 2026 second-round pick from the Wizards. Wizards would get, now these two teams both get the short end of the stick in this trade. Wizards get Tobias Harris, Devontae Graham, Zach Collins, Daishen Nix, and a 2025 first-round pick from the Spurs. And then the Rockets get Harden, Kem Birch, and Johnny Davis.
Dude.
I'm all in on that trade for the Sixers. I don't know about everybody else.
Let's simplify it a little bit because you threw a lot at
right.
The Spurs, you offer them Embiid for number 1 straight up. I don't think that trade the Spurs take that.
No, they don't. Not with Wembanyama being allegedly the best prospect in the history of basketball.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
I mean, but from the Sixers, like if that trade was let's say for instance that was a real trade proposal. If I'm the Sixers from Daryl Morey, I'm taking that deal.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
absolutely.
I want to make sure because you guys were saying how it was crazy, like for other teams.
Yeah, it was the Spurs are not trading Wembanyama for Wembanyama. Right. Not happening.
Even though they're getting 2 superstar players back.
Yeah, but they're still getting Beal. They're still getting Beal on a terrible contract.
I was going to say the money that they're inheriting is ridiculous between both of them.
Yeah,
who posted that dumbass trade? Some 13
clickbait. They got guessed and me.
It was of course they got me. What else am I doing?
Yeah, was it Ballsack Sports? Did you get
No, it was it's Sixers Wire at USA Today. It's Kai Carlin.
The only names that weren't involved in that trade were Randy Embry, Jorge Lozano, and Jeff Bangs.
And Pork Chop
Cash. All right, let's wrap up segment one.
Let me give you the trades. I got a
All
bunch
right,
of
all right, all right.
from the trade machine. All right, we can be quick with this. I have a lot. I'll give you them pretty rapid fire here. So the first category here is the blow it up trades. This is one that that idiot Elliot Shore Parks posted. It was the Blazers, and it was Embiid for Anthony Simons, Shadon Sharp, 2 firsts this year, a 2025 first, and a 2027 first.
So how many first total? 4 first?
4. So if you're just quick for you guys, if you're the Sixers, do you do it? If you're the Blazers, do you do it?
For the Blazers, sure. The Sixers, no. Although, because I don't think an Anthony Simons, Tyrese Maxey backcourt works defensively. I think it's way too small, and I think you would get destroyed there. I think talent wise, that's probably what you're looking at. Just don't love the fit. Besides Maxey, based on the size,
I actually don't mind that trade at all. I'm a Celtics. I'm a huge Simons fan.
yeah.
But I would be a little bit concerned with if he's going to be the starter alongside Maxey. I do a little bit of concern as far as the defensive side. But Portland at that point would have a superstar next to Dame, and if it ain't gonna work, then it ain't gonna work. And those picks for Portland that we would get, I don't think they'll be as bad as you would think. Because if it doesn't work, if Embiid gets hurt, or if Dame gets hurt, I mean, they're both going to be another year older, another 2-3 years older. At that point, Dame would be what, upper 30s.
And we don't have first round picks in
At all,
25 or 27.
Right.
So those would potentially be huge assets for us.
Yeah,
I actually don't mind
I don't
that.
hate the trade. I just don't love. I'm not a Simons guy,
All
but
right,
I think
I love Simons.
those packages are fair.
I think Simons is a star if he gets on the right spot. Like just like how I think Bridges, I'm a little bit higher on Bridges than you guys are, but very similar. I think he could be a number 1 or 2 guy on a team.
All right, let me move on here.
Offensively.
So this would be potentially with the Raptors. It will be Embiid for OG Anunoby, Boucher, and 3 first round picks.
Boucher.
Boucher. Boucher.
No, I'm not doing that trade.
Chris Boucher. OG, Boucher, and how many? 2 first round picks?
3 first round picks.
That's not even the Portland trade's way better.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think you're getting like really good value in that Portland trade. And
All right.
Sharp, we didn't even talk about him. Sharp can play a little bit.
Yeah, I like Sharp.
How about
And these guys are kids. They're like 22, 23 years old. Like they're young still. But go ahead, Al. I'm sorry.
How about with the Hawks? You got Embiid and PJ Tucker for Collins, Capella, 2023 first, 2 firsts in 2024, and a second in 2027.
No, thank you.
Well, you can't do 23 and 24 because of the draft rules. You can't trade back-to-back years.
Unless they have somebody else's pick.
Right. Well, I don't know. Is it still?
Yeah, no, it's fine. As long as you have a first round pick, you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I would. That I'm out on that one.
I'm not a John Collins guy.
All
I
right.
like Collins, but I'm still out on that.
Well, I did not know that aforementioned rule, so some of these might not work.
That's fine. But just give us a 3 first or something
So-
like that.
So here's 2 I have in the not a complete tank category. It would be with the Clippers, Embiid and PJ for Paul George, a first in 23, a second in 24, and a first in 27.
Who is it? PJ and Embiid for Paul George? Just Paul George?
2 firsts and a second.
I can't trust Paul George.
Yeah.
That's just a trade that still puts butts in seats. I think if you're a Sixers, fan and you're in the organization and you acquire some assets with the draft picks.
So you go Maxey, Tobias, Paul George as your main 3.
Yeah.
Offensively, at least. And Paul George is a 2-way guy. He can defend.
I don't hate the deal.
I don't think I would pull it. Health-wise, I can't trust Paul George. I think it'd be the same boat as Embiid.
Imagine having Embiid and Kawhi Leonard on your team together. Both
Same
as
as they
far
had. It
as
can't be worse than George and Kawhi. Those guys play whenever they felt like it.
Yeah. And then here's
I'm
the
intrigued by that deal. So call me intrigued. I'm not ready to pull the trigger yet.
Here's the deal with the devil. It will be with Boston, and it's Embiid and Melton for Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams, and 3 first round picks.
Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm in on that all day long.
Yeah, sign me up.
Even though he's going to Boston, but Jaylen Brown is he's another one. If he got away from Tatum, I think you would see him being a bona fide superstar. I still think Tatum's better, but Jaylen Brown's not. I mean, he would be right up there.
And Robert Williams is a dog. I would love him.
He is a dog.
He's just got
Philly
bad
would
knees.
love Robert Williams.
Yeah. And then the last one I have is the alien for alien. It's Embiid straight up for Luka.
Yeah.
What about him?
What?
I'd be more intrigued by him. I mean, you're not going to get it because they're going to try to pair them together. But I'd be more intrigued by Embiid for Lillard than Embiid for Luka. Dude, Luka's got issues, bro.
Are you serious?
What?
Like a 23-year-old Luka, you'd rather have Dame Lillard at 31?
With this, I think with this team, yeah, I would rather have that.
You're
I think
insane.
Dame is dude. Luka's got leadership issues just
He's
like
23.
Embiid. Okay, well, maybe we'll see. I don't know, but
What's
I
Dame
love,
ever done?
you know that Dame's my guy, bro.
I hear you, but he didn't even get a team to the playoffs.
Where was Luka in the playoffs?
Okay, Luka went to the conference final last year.
And they just hamstrung him with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, they were fine.
Speaking of Kyrie Irving, would you be interested in bringing Kyrie Irving?
No.
I'm just saying.
End the segment.
No.
I'm not saying I want him. I'm just saying, would you be interested in that?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't disagree.
What about Wendell Carter Jr., Gary Harris, Bol, and 3 firsts?
Well, Al Celtics all day on that.
Wendell Carter's my boy.
Yeah, he's all day in on that.
No, that's not enough.
That's a show your love 2 team. That's what that is.
You didn't mention what about Oklahoma City for Holmgren and then either Jalen Williams or Josh Giddey and 4 first?
I don't think Oklahoma City does that.
You think an Embiid, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pairing? Like
I just don't. I don't think they do it. I don't think they give up Holmgren without even seeing him play.
Holmgren and Giddey, I'm in.
I think I'd rather have Williams, but we're.
Dude,
I wasn't like Giddey. I like Giddey.
I'm not a huge Giddey guy.
I would say Celtics didn't really care. I like Giddey.
He impressed me more as the season went on, but I think Jalen Williams, who was second to Rookie of the Year voting, is a stud waiting to happen.
So Dort in that mix, I'm all in.
I don't know, but do you think about it, if they kept Dort, you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Embiid, and then either Williams or Giddey, whichever one they're not giving up. Like that's your core right there. And then they still have like 8 first-round picks in the next.
Right, let's see the picks they have.
Yeah.
Well, the Sixers liked Dort in that draft that year. I remember hearing that when we reading up on that draft. They liked Dort, so they would probably be interested in having him in something like that. I heard the Knicks want Embiid.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know.
I got a Knicks trade here. Did I mention the Knicks trade?
No.
I got Embiid for Evan Fournier, that Hartenstein dude, Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin. 2 firsts in 24, a first in 25, and a first in 26. They have a bunch of picks.
So yeah, but that's not enough talent. Like you're not bringing in enough. It would have to be. There'd have to be RJ Barrett in that trade to even consider it.
I would say Barrett and Quickly, or we gotta make money work too. But yeah, I'd have to have.
Tough. It was tough with the Knicks to make the money.
Right. Yeah. And like you can't even get like Josh Hart because he's in that situation where he can't be traded because he was just traded.
Yeah.
So
look, it'll be interesting to see how the offseason progresses. I'm sure we're going to talk more about James Harden. I'm sure stuff will leak over the next few weeks, plus a new coach. So we have a lot of Sixers talk that'll stall some of the Phillies chatter as the Phillies are looking to go down again tonight, 6-3 in the 9th inning. But anything else before we wrap it up? Move on to segment 2.
Al loves Luka.
Yeah, dude. Bring in Luka, man.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Bring in Luka.
All right. We'll be right back. Welcome back to segment 2. We're going to talk national sports stories, and we're going to break it up into 2 separate things. But to change the pace up, because obviously we're going to talk Jimmy Butler and what's going on there. Let's start with the golf this weekend, gents. The PGA Championship wrapped up at Oak Hill up in Rochester. Brooks Koepka of Al's Live Golf with the win, his 5th major, which puts him in pretty elite category. He ends up pulling away late as Victor Hovland makes what I would say is an inevitable mistake.
With the way that ever get over the hump or what, my man?
Yeah, I mean, he's still young, but he just always seems to make a mistake when it matters the most.
Let's talk about Brooks first. I don't want to steal his shine, but I do have a question about Hovland because he's starting to put himself into like notorious company.
Can I throw some Brooks stats at you?
Go ahead.
So career in the majors. Ready? Brooks Koepka has won 14% of the majors that he's played in. Tiger Woods has won 16% of the majors that he's played in. Brooks Koepka has finished in the top 3 in 25% of the majors he's played in. Tiger Woods has finished in the top 3 28% of the majors he's played in. Brooks Koepka has finished in the top 5 39% of his majors. Tiger Woods has finished in the top 5 36% of the time. Brooks Koepka has finished in the top 10 50% of the majors he's played in. Tiger Woods has finished in the top 10 45% of the majors he's played in. The numbers
that goes
are
to
there.
show you how great Tiger Woods is, in my opinion, because he's not playing nearly that level anymore, and he's still up there with these stats.
Right. Well, that's the point. Is like Tiger's stats are a little skewed because the last few years he has obviously not been
His
on the
prime
level
was
that he
unheard of.
But the point is, Tiger is the greatest of all time, and there's not even a question. But Brooks's major stats are comparable. He's in
No. But wait a minute. What are the total number of majors that these two gentlemen have played? Because I'd rather, if I'm Tiger and I'm Brooks, I mean, you're comparing me with Elon Musk. If you're saying, I make 50% of $100,000, but he makes 50% of $100 billion.
I'm not saying he's Tiger. I'm saying that his run has been elite. His last 18 majors, Brooks Koepka's last 18 majors, he's finished first or second in 9 of them.
Listen, that's great. I don't love you comparing him with Tiger Woods.
I'm not comparing him. I'm just showing you the run that he's on and how good it has actually been. There's no saying. I'm not saying Brooks is Tiger.
Al took an elite dump this morning. You know who else took an elite dump? Elon Musk.
Let me ask you this. Okay, we're not comparing him to Tiger. Forget that.
I get what you're saying. I'm just having fun with it, but I get where you're coming from with it.
Yeah, so do I.
Is Brooks the best player of his generation? So let's talk. I'm talking Rory, Spieth, JT, Jason Day, Dustin Johnson. Is Brooks the best in his generation when you look back on it?
You didn't even mention DeChambeau.
I think DeChambeau's more like the newer generation, I would say.
I'm surprised you even mentioned my boy Jay Day because you can't have him up there either. I would, without seeing the numbers in front of me, you still have to have Rory at the top of that list. But the one that came to my mind right away was probably Spieth. But Spieth just had such a hot run in such a contained amount of time. And that was so long ago. Like, he's starting to get it back. You probably got to put Rory, Brooks, and then Spieth. And then you start to get, like, it's like Rory, Brooks, and you get into, like, that Spieth DJ is a second tier.
Yeah, I think Rory still has them because he has 4. But 5 majors is elite category. And so since World War II, here are the guys with 5 or more majors. Nicklaus, Woods, Hogan, Player, Watson, Snead, Palmer, Trevino, Faldo, Mickelson, Seve, and some guy named Thompson. I don't know who that is.
Rob Thompson's in there.
And Brooks.
And Hulk Hogan.
That's the list. 5 majors.
Yeah, and Brooks is doing it against elite talent.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best that, I mean, he's got this pool of golfers, obviously, in all the sports, these guys are the best that's ever been out there. So I've come full circle with Brooks. Like, I liked him in the very beginning, and then I started to not like him. I think he got a little arrogant at one point in time. Then he went through his own little personal struggles. So I started liking him again. And I mean, I'm with Al. I like the live thing. I think it's kind of cool that he was able to, the PGA champ is not even in the PGA. I think it's a kind of a fascinating thing. So, but
he's a killer. When he has that walk, he doesn't blink.
He apparently has said before that, like, I mean, I think it's kind of gamesmanship, but he doesn't even really practice that much. And he is he's like a Jimmy Butler in the sense that he really keens in on the majors.
That's a great
mentally.
He's won more majors than he has non-majors.
Yeah.
He only has 4 wins in non-majors.
Yeah, so he's a dog. He's a competitive guy, and that's why I like him, because I feel like you could trust him. You could put money on the guy and feel confident about your bet. In these big moments, these big majors.
Let me ask you guys this though. Does any of this even matter since he's not on the PGA Tour anymore? And does it potentially pave the way for number one, the golf world rankings, which I know obviously this tournament, that plays into that, but for them or the PGA to potentially change their stances on these guys, because it's a better product with these guys on the course.
Well, I was going to ask that if they're still eligible for the world golf ratings.
Only
only for these type of tournaments.
And like
tournaments or not.
There's some like weird tour in Japan that they can play on, but like you get no points because the competition is shit.
What do you mean? Does it matter? Of course it matters.
Does it though? Like how much of this narrative is going to get buried because he's on live, because you're not going to hear about it on the PGA Tour week to week?
Well, I think that they're going to try to bury it, but the fans and the folks that watch it, that go on social media, Twitter, Instagram, I don't think they'll forget that. I mean, they're not going to just ignore it.
The real question becomes, now that after coming in second in the Masters and winning the PGA, he's going to probably auto qualify for the Ryder Cup. And how the PGA Tour decides to handle that with a live guy playing in the Ryder Cup will be a real question, because I think if you auto qualify, like, you can't renege on that. I don't think.
I have no idea. I don't know. I know that's been a topic of discussion for the last couple of months, saying whether or not they should take him, DJ potentially as well. I don't know. It's ugly, man. It's a mess. It's a mess. Golf is a mess right now, dude.
I thought the tournament yesterday or this weekend was really good. I didn't like the course on Thursday, but I warmed up to it as the weekend progressed, and those guys battled yesterday, and we haven't even talked about Mike Block. I know, Al, you had some things about Mr. Block.
Well, for anyone that's listening that don't know this man's story, so Michael Block is the PGA Tour, the PGA Pro at his local course, and Adam, you could probably add a little bit of background knowledge to this as well. A number of those guys qualify, and they're allowed to play in the PGA Championship each year, right? It's going to say I knew it wasn't many. So 20 of these guys qualify. It's basically like a handshake, like, hey, you can get out and rub elbows, go play a course, go play in a major, but nobody's expected to do anything. These guys are just they're local pros, right? Yep. So this guy comes out, not only makes the cut, he has the best 4 rounds of his life, probably, at this major.
I'm going to say probably about it.
He finishes in the top 15, which makes him automatically qualify for next year's PGA Championship, on a putt on 18 that had to be a 10, 12-foot putt that sat on the lip of the hole for a whole second before it dropped in.
Yeah, it was a bender.
And then not only that, if you didn't see it, the man hits a hole-in-one on Sunday of the major, playing alongside Rory McIlroy, potentially the best player of our generation.
Slam dunk.
Hole.
Yeah. And as somebody who's had a slam dunk hole-in-one, such as myself, do.
See, now I would think I just lost the ball. I wouldn't even think that they would even went in the cup.
He turned to Rory and said, "Did it go in?" Like, because he heard the roar,
right?
And then he turned and said, like, his look is of disbelief. He genuinely cannot believe that this happened.
It was so wild that, like, that kind of script of a film, I would have just walked out.
So that's what that's what I was gonna say. Is like, so often in sports we hear like, oh, it's only you only see this in the movies, right? What? Is there anything to compare this to? Like, here are the 2 things I thought of, and I don't even think this even compared. Like, this doesn't compare. I said number 1 would be a G League NBA guy getting called up and dropping 50 in Game 7 of a playoff game, and then number 2 would be an emergency goalie being put in the first period of Game 7 and then stoning Connor McDavid on a penalty shot.
Well, you missed one that actually happened over the span of a season. Kurt Warner had an amazing story. Kurt Warner was bagging groceries.
That's a really good name.
And played on the Iowa Barnstormers of the Arena Football League, which wasn't even the main Arena Football League. It was like a sub-league of the Arena League. Got a chance, made the backup QB for the Rams, and then had Trent Green get hurt, and then he won the Super Bowl and went to an MVP, went to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's all right. That's it.
That's the
But
one.
no, but you're to your point though, like that was over the span of a season, but and a career. But for Block, in like the blink of an eye, basically, like over the span of a couple of days, that guy had, like you said, the best golf of his life in the biggest stage of his life.
And hit a friggin' hole in one.
I mean, did you see the video when they told him they broke the news? The media broke the news to him that he was playing with Rory. Did you
Right.
see that?
Yes, I did.
And he was just like, "There's no there's no way."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, dude, like check it out."
And just as much as he needed that putt on 18 to go in to finish in the top 15, he needed the hole in one.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
it was
Never
awesome.
seen a shot.
15 out the hole in one. And now,
And-
so he made over 200 grand. He got a special exemption now for this week's tour event, the Charles.
That's a year's salary for him.
Invitational. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's at home. He's
More than
making
that. It's more than a year.
Oh, I'm saying yeah.
Yeah, he's making $100 an hour for lessons. It said something like he made $3,000 playing local, like low level pro events.
But let's not pretend that he's a nobody. He's probably, from all his qualifying, he's the best pro in California, and he
But he's
plays
still not on the
matches.
PGA.
I know, but he also plays money matches against the PGA Tour players all the time, from what Twitter was saying. So he's not like he's a stiff by any means. Like, the dude can
No,
play.
He's
I
just
know they
not-
said I
absolutely.
think somebody tweeted at him, like, I forget what pro it was. It may have been Bo Hostler. He said, "You're not getting any more strokes when we play our money matches," like joking like that.
I
So like
was
the dude's a stick.
Yeah, he's
I was-
legit.
I was intrigued by my man's Raw hat.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
I was like, is my man wearing a Monday Night Raw hat? Like, what is he up there in?
But let me give you one other comparison. I don't love it, but it was the first thing that came to my mind because, again, Chris mentioned Warner, and Al, you said that's a full season, and we were looking at like a smaller sample. Linsanity,
That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that took over the world for 2 or 3 weeks when that guy
Yeah.
came out, and then again he managed to have a decent career afterwards, but it kind of just fizzled its way along.
I got called Jeremy Lin a lot that summer, boys. A lot. Secret Service at the OD. They loved calling me
Well,
Jeremy
guess what?
Lin.
I'd probably be getting called HV3 a lot if I went out on the course.
I know we want to shift to basketball, but we had started to talk about Hovland in the beginning, and I was just thinking that is Victor Hovland the latest in the Fowler, Xander, Zalatoris line of bridesmaids but never brides? And then I was thinking, here's the top 5 guys in the world rankings right now without a major, and just give me who you think wins the next one. So Patrick Cantley's ranked 4th, Xander Schauffele's ranked 5th, Hovland's at 6th, Homa's at 7th, and then Finau's at 12th. I'm taking Zalatoris out of this. He's at 10th, but he's hurt. So out of those 5, Cantley, Schauffele, Hovland, Homa, and Finau, who's your guy that wins the major first?
Well, Seltzer, I'll go first because I know you're going to give actual feedback in it. But did you both see that Homa is kind of calling his shot for the next one? Was it for US Open, was it?
It's been for a year in the making ever since they announced.
LACC right there.
Yep.
Yeah, he was basically saying, like, I feel good about it. Like, put your money on me.
Yeah.
The other day. I would, if I had to wager a bet on your question, I would say I would still go with Hovland. Hovland's, he's right on the cusp. He's right on the cusp. I like that kid a lot.
He's got to figure out around the greens though. He kills himself around the green.
Yeah.
He just has a knack for hitting the wrong shot at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Again, for whatever reason, I remember him chunking one at the Arnold Palmer earlier this year. Obviously hits the lip of the bunker on a 16 on Saturday. Al, for me, it's your boy Cantlay. I think he has the most complete game of all of those guys at this point in time, as much as I don't enjoy watching him play. He's had some trouble in majors, but if you look at his last 2 or 3, he started to trickle towards, like, I think he finished in the top 10 this weekend. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think he did too.
And I think at the Masters, he was up in that mix. He's starting to find his sea level a little bit.
And he had a rough first round.
Yeah, he did. As in a lot of people, that course was playing really, really
right.
hard.
But I'm saying, like, if he had even was at par in that round, he probably would have been right there for at least higher than he finished. But,
and Max has, he can say what he wants. He's struggled in majors. He's never had a top 20 maybe.
No, and I think he's putting a little too much pressure on himself for the U.S. Open in his little hometown there.
Yeah, he's a Cali boy.
Yeah, I got Schauffele. I think Schauffele has the all-around game. The
I would
only
say
thing
he's
that's
probably
lacking with
second.
him, it's the same thing that I think Hovland lacks, is the killer instinct.
Yeah,
Neither of them
agreed.
seem to have a killer instinct.
Yeah, he was second for me, Shoffley. Yeah. And I would love to have Finau in there, but Finau always just seems to just it never goes for a full 4 rounds.
No, but Tony hasn't done it in a major, but he seemed to get the monkey off his back the last few years with just winning tournaments. He's got, I think, 6 wins now.
Yeah.
But how many of those were at shit events? I think 5 of them were.
What did he win? Yeah, he hasn't won.
Like the
although
Mexico,
I think he won a playoff event last year, I think.
He did, but that's the only one I think that he won that's actually legit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is there any so how do I ask this question? If you go through your career and let's say you play 15 years on the tour and you just never win a tournament, what is your legacy like? Are you looked at like
one.
You're Charles?
I'm saying, Charles Howell? You said
Charles Howell won a couple events.
No, but like he won like what 2 events over the stretch of like 20 years.
Like is that and also is that common?
Yeah, you're just a grinder.
I mean, the chances are if you play for that long, like you may struggle to keep your tour card.
Because even like Webb Simpsons of the world and those like they've won before.
Yeah,
Kevin Kisner is a great example right now, Chris. He's a guy
Kisner's got like 5 or 6 wins.
But he just like grinds out like top 40s. Like he's not a winner.
Your bigger was Tringali. Tringali, I think, has the most events on tour without winning. Did he go to Live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my next question is that still an open door, the Live situation, or are they kind of just like we're not accepting any more of these guys right now?
I think you have to get offered a contract at this point.
Well, no, I'm saying though, like has anybody newly been jumping ship from PGA based on
not over the last few months.
Kind of been dry a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's shift gears. We good with the golf?
Yeah.
Let's talk NBA playoffs. Jimmy Buckets, man. He is. I don't know if you guys watched the game last night. The Heat did to the Celtics what the Celtics did to the Sixers.
Yeah.
It looked like that Boston team had quit. Yeah. They had no interest in playing, and they
don't know what to do with them.
Shellacked.
They have no answers.
They're getting out physical. They're getting pushed around.
Well, and it all started from that rat Grant Williams. Because
I don't think that. Like I don't think
that. He literally I don't know, man.
The fire was already ablaze. I mean, he was ever seen on it, but it was already ablaze.
I think the reason I'm saying that is because after it happened, Butler obviously went off right afterwards. But after the game, dude asked Jaylen Brown in that press conference, and he said next question, comment. Couldn't answer it. He had no comment.
Jaylen Brown is checked out. He's checked out.
I don't think he's going to be on the team next year.
I told you that 4 months ago.
Yeah, I'm starting to be on your side with that. I don't know if he comes back. I think we've already agreed that it's Tatum's. It's going to end up being Tatum's team, and I think that ultimately for them, that's probably the right decision. But it doesn't mean that Jaylen Brown can't play. Jaylen Brown is a star in his own right, but I think they're going to latch on to Tatum more.
Now, what happened? I think we talked James Harden to Houston earlier. I think Jaylen Brown to Houston in a trade is live, especially with Udoka being the coach in Houston.
That's interesting. Well, if they get Jaylen Brown, that's a great get for them. But I know that they've said that they're looking at Harden, they're looking at Middleton, they're looking at there was a third veteran that they were looking at. I can't remember who it is right now, but Harden's going there, man. I think that's the move.
If Udoka goes to Houston and brings Jaylen Brown with him, that is very Tony D'Amato and Willie Beeman.
Yes.
Yeah, very.
I just signed Jaylen Brown as my starting small forward.
If you're a Boston fan, what is worse for your franchise moving forward?
I don't care about them.
If they lost Game 7 to the Sixers, or they go out and get swept like they did for Miami, what's worse for that roster moving forward?
It's the sweep because this is still a step back for them at the end of
the
game. This is a dirtier step back. I mean, even though at this point, like we're still criminally underrating Miami because of that 8 attached next to their name. but like getting swept by an 8 seed in the Eastern Conference
In the finals,
a
right?
year after, yeah, that's dirty, man.
And remember, their shirts say unfinished business.
Yep. I can't believe we're in this position as Sixers fans where it's like we just lost in the second round in a terrible fashion, and we're somehow watching the team that beat us, like their franchise is just crumbling before our eyes. It's insane to me.
Al, you brought up a great point in the first segment about the other teams in the East and what this end of this year can do for those franchises. And Boston is definitely one that is very intriguing going forward. Obviously for us as one of their rivals, you know, I would love to break that band up. I think that let's say they don't lose Brown yet and they keep Brown and Tatum. Then you still got to get rid of, like, I would imagine you still got to go trade Smart, or
Smart would be the guy I think that gets moved.
And that helps us.
Right.
Because he's a good player and he would be awesome here. He would be a perfect fit on this team right now. But nonetheless, he's a guy that he's a good player in his own right, but he's not going to get you back a return that's going to make your team that much better because of the money he makes and all that other stuff. You're not going to get like definitively better by trading Marcus Smart.
Right.
If anything, it'll get worse because you're not going to get someone that's equally impactful in the defensive end. You're definitely not doing that. Former defensive player of the year. Like, you're not going to get better on that end of the ball. So, yeah.
Al, you said the Heat were criminally underrated. I don't think that team's good. I think they're just on a heater. Like, they're on a
You've
roll.
been saying that this year, but I don't agree. I agree with Al.
Who on that roster is good?
They're all better than everyone else in the East right now.
They're playing.
I think they're on a heater. Like they're on a heater.
This is the definition of criminally underrated.
They lost in the playing game to the Hawks at home.
Listen, I think they're underseeded. That team is like a 5.
They're 1 win away from the NBA Finals. But let me ask you this about them, underrated or not. Do they have to win the title this year to legitimize this little run they've been on?
No, it's already legitimized. They're
really?
not.
How many times can they just be this? How many times can they be the Butler of the NBA where they just make a Cinderella run, but they don't win it?
But this year they're an 8 seed.
Saying that they won a title in 14. It wasn't that long ago.
That's not the same team. This is
I understand, but this team's been to 2-1 finals. But it'll be 2 now. You're acting like they've been to 5. They're not the Buffalo Bills,
and they got shafted by a lot of way.
It'll be their second title, their second one.
And but without winning, what's it matter? It doesn't look like if they walk out of this with Jimmy Butler just having made 2 title games but not winning a title. I don't think anybody looks back at the story and says, "Oh, what a successful team."
Oh, I disagree 100%.
Yeah,
dude, they got rid of the Bucks.
Why is the bar so low for Miami?
It's not, but getting to the finals is a huge accomplishment.
And they got rid of the Bucks and the Celtics in the process.
As an 8 seed.
If they're this good to continue to make the NBA Finals and make the Eastern Conference Finals, but never win it, is it really?
For the record, I think they're going to win the title this year.
You're underrating them by saying that it's good enough for them to make it and not win it.
How can any 8 seed, whether they're underseeded or not, they're still at 8? How can any 8 seed not have this season be a success? There's never been an 8 seed that's done what they've done.
I'm not saying this season in a bubble. I'm saying this team over the course of how many years this has been, that they've made the finals, that they made it to the Eastern Conference, that they keep on pulling this rabbit out of a hat shit, where every year it's like, oh, here comes Miami again in the playoffs. But if it's here comes Miami again, but they never win the title, then really at the end.
Let me ask you this.
I think you think it's happened more often. I think you're acting like they've been there so much more than they actually have.
Let me ask you this, Al. Let's say the Sixers gut everything, and next year they come in with whatever team they come in with, and they're an 8 seed, and they lose Game 7 of the second round next year. How would you look at that?
If they gut everything,
they gut everything, and Embiid's going, Harden's going, Doc's going, everybody's going. It's a new team.
Yeah, I'm going to be incredibly happy, right? Now, if they do that again the next year and they make it to the finals and they lose, I'm still going to be happy. But now if they do that again the next year and they don't win the title at any point, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, and also the other thing, too, is the fan bases you're talking about. Miami doesn't care. They don't care.
I know that.
They don't care nearly as much as we would anyway. But I don't think they care about that. I disagree with you on this.
So in a 4-year stretch for them to lose in the NBA Finals, lose in the first round, lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then lose in the NBA Finals. You're saying
The
that
playoffs is hard.
I'm just saying, are you saying that that's a success?
This year in a vacuum, yes.
Those 4 years. That 4-year run.
But if I was a
it's
Sixers
not a
fan, I would
collegiate
take
team.
that.
Like, why are you basing
I
it
would
around
take
the
that.
4? I don't understand why it has to be those those 4 specific years you're looking
Because that's
at.
the Jimmy Butler years.
Only one team wins the title. One team out of 30. And they've been there. Listen, if it was the Sixers, I would be thrilled with that run.
And they got a lot of bodies on the way that they caught.
You wouldn't
in
be
the
thrilled with that
process.
run the second time around they made it to the finals and lost.
They haven't lost yet.
I'm saying if they make it to the finals and lose. The question was, do they need to win the title to legitimize the run? That was my question.
No.
We say no. I say no.
And I think and for the record, I think they are going to win the title. I think they are going to beat the Nuggets.
That's going to be a hell of a series.
So
who'd have thought Miami and Denver in the NBA?
Yeah.
Let's close out this segment on this. Actually, before I do that, I want to shout out for LeBron, even though they're down 3-0. LeBron with 31, 4 and 4 in the first half tonight.
The machine.
I want LeBron to find a way to that's the only imagine if he comes back from 0-3 and wins a series and wins a final series. Like the conversation's got to stop.
Forget it. If that happens, forget it, dude.
All right, one word answer. To this point, playoff MVP, Jimmy Butler or Nikola Jokic?
Jimmy
Butler.
It's not even close. MVP.
How is it not close?
Value.
Because Jimmy's an 8.
Because Jimmy Butler, and they just beat the 1 seed, a tough Knicks team, and they're about to sweep the defending Eastern Conference champs.
That's fine.
And Jokic says Jamal Murray.
I'll agree with you that it's Jimmy.
Right.
But there's close. Nicole has been fucking unbelievable.
No, he's been great, but he's also got Murray, who's also a playoff killer.
Yeah, no doubt. That's
and
why
he don't have a guy like that.
Right.
They got a bunch of dudes that just play well together.
Jokic has been the most outstanding player, but Jimmy is far and away the most valuable player.
100%.
Gabe Vincent ain't doing that shit without Jimmy Butler on the court.
I'm fine with that. I was just saying it's close. I agree with you, Jimmy. All right, we'll wrap up segment 2.
And we want to have Duncan Robinson win a ring before he comes.
There it is. The Duncan shout out. Good plug, Chris. Also, LeBron, just to add on to it, he played the entire first half and he was 11 for 13 shooting. So a hell of a first half for him. All right, segment 3, boys. It's time to dial it up.
You ready?
TV themes draft. As I was doing my research this morning, this is going to be something special.
I'm nervous.
I am too.
Who else was nervous?
I don't know what direction to go.
Who's
Who else was nervous?
Who?
Elon Musk.
On that note, we'll be right back. Welcome back to segment 3. TV themes draft. No rules. Cartoons, good. TV shows, reality TV, anything you want. It's up for grabs.
Oh, I know where you're. See, you already just gave a nugget.
No, there was no.
The versus old bots theme song.
Yeah,
maybe.
you gave a nugget.
Yo.
Not on my list.
I was going to shout it out afterwards for Diversa.
Spoiled it. Fans.
So to clarify, because we went through this on the text thread earlier, these are not necessarily the best or your favorite TV theme songs. These are the most iconic, correct?
Yeah, which I think is synonymous with best. It's just it's the top. Like when we did the 90s songs, we said if there's a time capsule, what were the songs we put in that time capsule? So someone would be like, "Oh, those are 90. That's the 90s." This would be, "Oh, that's the best. That's the theme songs." Like that's it.
But like the song itself might not be good. It just relates. It's like you hear it and you're like, that's that show.
Oh yeah, dude. Some TV songs are shit, but they're great.
Okay.
So here's the question that I got asked by a couple people when I said we were doing this is if we can take TV theme songs that were already actual songs, and I said yes. I said no holds barred.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
that's absolutely the one that came up. But
so go ahead, Al. You can put Dawson's Creek with your girl Katie Holmes.
Nah, dude. Because you know why? Because Paul Cole didn't give them the rights to use it. You know about that controversy?
No,
good for her.
Save that for episode 47.
I'm not picking Dawson's Creek, dude.
All right, so we went behind the scenes and did the draft order. It was Chris, Al, and then myself. I'm also going to try and play the theme songs. We may get a piece of an ad, but I'm going to try and edit that out the best I can. So stay patient with the music, it'll make it worth it in the long run for you guys.
Chris, before you make your first pick, I want to say a couple things. Number one, I usually give you a lot of heat about these drafts. I want to say something though. This is the first draft that I feel like all three of us are going to have exceptional squads at the end of this draft because there is just a cornucopia of TV theme songs. And the other thing I want to say is I think there's probably guys like 8 songs that could be the number 1 pick.
Oh yeah.
8?
That's just off the top of my head. Like there's a lot that could be the number 1 pick.
I think the middle rounds is where it gets clogged. I think the first round there should be some pretty straightforward.
I got a couple outside the box ones, but not. I don't know if they're gonna crack the list for me overall with the draft, but we'll talk about it afterwards. But some iconic stuff that maybe people aren't really thinking about with this, but we'll see. You guys might have them on your list too. We'll see.
All right, Chris, you're on the clock. Go ahead.
All right. So as both of you know, I think you know, I'm a nostalgic type of cat. All right. So I like a lot of throwback stuff as it is anyway.
Oh man.
And the first pick is going to go to a show that a lot of us, it was our first show that we ever saw. And it's over 60 years old now and still goes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. And I can't believe you blew the first pick of the draft.
What am I saying?
Go. I got it queued up.
Yeah, we don't want to give it away.
Yeah,
I'm going with the first pick. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
Oh, God, you blew it.
How'd I blow it? That's one of the most iconic songs ever. And the show's been on for like 4 generations.
It's so iconic that they changed it. They change it every friggin' year, that song. I've been watching it with my kids for the last 7 years. It's all different now.
Well, you know, but the main riff is still the same riff, though, isn't it?
Nah, I mean,
the same melody.
I don't know, man. It's not really the same these days anymore. Yes,
I'm still going with Sesame Street.
I'm so disappointed in you right now.
The true Sesame Street.
I'll be honest, I had Sesame Street on my list, but it was nowhere near a first round pick.
Not even on my list.
Oh, that's insane.
Not even a blip.
That's insane. Sesame Street wasn't on your list.
No, dude. Oh. Wait till you hear some of the shows I got over it.
So you can literally have a 5-year-old or a 75-year-old, and they're still going to know the song, and it's not on the list.
Oh,
how many songs can we have on here where you can say that?
I had it on the list, just wasn't first round.
But go ahead, go to the next pick. Sesame Street. I got Big Bird coming up with the cap. He's putting his draft cap on. Telly, Cookie Monster, Grover.
I was a big Sesame Street kid.
Sesame Street was awesome. Bert and Ernie rolled up. They're all in the draft ladder in the war room. They're all hanging out.
I never watched. Shout out to my neighbors though. So my neighbors have this big like life-size Cookie Monster that they keep out on the porch facing our window, so that Penny can look out the window and see Cookie Monster. So she'll go over the window and say Cookie, Cookie, and they just keep them there for her. Rain, sleet, snow, and hail. That thing is out there.
And see, she knows the Sesame Street song.
Yeah, and it ain't the one you know.
Well, but it's still Sesame Street.
You know. All right. So I think I have like I'm kind of stuck here because there's no way some of these songs are going to make it back to me. I can't see it. And I think there's 3 like really solid picks here. And I think Adam might take both of the ones I don't take. So just to represent where I'm from, man.
It's a good pick.
West Philadelphia. I got to go with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. When you talk about an iconic song, guest mentioned a song that everyone knows. This is a song that everyone knows the lyrics to. Will Smith has performed this. I saw him perform it live at Live 8 when they came to Philly. He's performed it, on television multiple times on different like interviews and talk shows he's done. It's for me, it never gets old. It is just the perfect song to go with the show. And that's what a lot of these songs are going to be, the perfect song to go along with the show. I myself at my bachelor party in New Orleans, I did a little diddly to I was rapping Mo Money Mo Problems on the mic at a establishment, And for the third verse, instead of rapping the actual verse, I rapped the Fresh Prince theme song, and I was told it was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't think I can dispute that. So I'm going with the Fresh Prince as my my first pick.
That was number 3 on my draft board, but I will say that beat slaps.
Yeah.
Like that beat is hard, dude.
You know how they have the extended version that they only used for the first 2 episodes where it kicks in for like an extended bar? That's even harder.
That's what I'm saying. That beat knocks, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great pick. It was if you would have let it go, I would have definitely taken it on the turn. Great show as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, I can't let this go by without the best episode of a television show of all time. Papa's got a brand new excuse when his dad comes back and then leaves him again at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
The little monologue.
Will Smith, that made his career.
How come he don't want me, man?
Yeah, that made his career, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the episode when of course we're talking about all the serious ones, but when Carlton has the gun.
Yep.
And Will gets does Will get shot?
Will get shot because Carlton won't give the guy the
right. And he tells Carlton to give him the gun because he bought a gun to protect himself.
Yeah. And you owe me. Give me the gun, Carlton. You owe me.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So me for 2 here. There's one that's definitely going to be a lock for me. There was a show that debuted in the 90s, which was a very popular sitcom that I wasn't into, but recently I was told I needed to binge it. I did. It was way better than I expected.
You guys, I haven't heard any of these songs, by the way, if you're playing.
Oh, you're not hearing them?
No.
Oh, yeah. If you've been playing them, I have been hearing them.
I have been playing them. Okay, so we're going to have to scratch that. But I'm going to have to go with Friends.
Oh.
I'll be there for you.
Yeah, it's high on the list.
When you hear the song on the radio, you think of the show. It's iconic, tremendous show. Obviously, launched the careers of, Jennifer Aniston, Matthew Perry, Courtney Cox, all of the rest.
And Rembrandt,
iconic song and a good song, huh?
I said, and Rembrandt, the band that made it.
Yeah, the Rembrandts, absolutely.
Yep.
But I mean, I think it's a lock for a first round pick just because of.
Yeah, well, we see what you're doing here, Seltzer. You know that a lot of our followers on Instagram are females, and females that probably absorbed this show and still do. So I get it. I see what your strategy is.
I thought the show was going to be horrible. It's actually it's a good show. It's good. It's funnier than I thought it would be.
It's quick hitter comedy. Like it's just quick boom, 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 punchline.
Yeah, there's the one episode where Ross has the leather pants on and he's on a date and he can't get them on or up. I forget, and he's like puts powder all over himself.
When they're poking the guy that they think is dead, and they got all the chopsticks. You get to that one yet?
I've seen them all. Yeah.
Okay, retracted device.
I think the only black person on Friends was Aisha Tyler when she was his name's girlfriend, right? At one point,
in like one of the later seasons.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like I can't get over the fact that I know that you could throw realism out the window for most of these shows, but like they're in the middle of New York City and they're all living in these apartments and they literally work at a coffee shop. There's no way they'd be able to there's no way Jennifer Aniston would be able to afford living in an apartment with that job. Sis was doing something on the side.
Guess it's a big Gunther guy.
Gunther!
Rest in peace. He died recently.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're a little out.
I was thinking about the wrestler Gunther.
All right, so my second pick, I got some things I hope was going to make it back to me.
I'm going to get one of mine. You didn't take one I thought you would.
I'm going to go. This is so hard.
I think you got to pick one of the two here.
I'm going to go back to the 80s. And you guys thought Friends was a pretty white pick. I'm gonna have to go with Cheers.
Yeah, that's the pick.
So that's literally I told Sarah, I was like, there's 2 shows I'm not putting on there just because I just hate the shows. And there's Friends and Cheers.
That's
and you
the
pick
pick,
both of them at the top.
But they're iconic songs.
Yeah. That's arguably one. Cheers is
I know.
Yeah. Just just a really, really good theme song. I wish I could play. I can't believe you guys weren't hearing the YouTube videos when I was playing.
No.
No. Have you ever tried to watch it though?
Cheers.
Yeah.
I watched like the first 2 episodes and I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah, we tried to we watched like the first season and then that was it. We couldn't get through it. There's so many episodes. There's like 1,000 episodes.
Yeah, it's tough.
That was back when like they had TV shows, what, like 24, 25, 26 episodes a year?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
At least. All right. So I've got Friends and Cheers.
Oh, you can't. I'm trying to play it. You can't hear it?
No, I can't hear it, but I heard it way earlier when you had the ad on.
All right. I guess it didn't work. All right. Seltzer, that was that. Yeah. If I wasn't from West Philly, that would have been my first pick. That to me, I think, is the most iconic TV theme song of all time. But I'll go with another one that I think could have been first. I thought it was going to be what you were taking. I'm going to go with the Jeffersons.
Oh, that was on. That's on my list.
Moving on up.
We are moving on up to the east side, to that D-line in the sky.
This is becoming racial. I got the white shows, Alex got the black shows, and Chris got the Muppets.
I don't see color. I see everybody's different colors and shades.
Chris, do you remember? There's a little music trivia for you. Who was the music artist that sampled the Jeffersons TV show intro? He was I can't even say one hit wonder because the song wasn't even that big.
Wasn't it Murphy Lee?
It was not Murphy Lee. It was a gentleman by the name of B. Rich.
Oh, that's right.
Out of Baltimore.
Yes.
The aforementioned Diversa bought his whole album because of that song.
We've all bought something we regret for CDs back in. I remember I bought the Chingy's first album.
Oh, but Chingy's first album had One Call Away. That's a banger.
Yeah, it is a banger. And what was his hit? Right There.
Right There.
I like it when you do that right there.
And then he had Holiday Inn also. He had some songs.
Yeah, that actually was a nice little, but still, like nowadays, 20 years later, you're like, who the heck is Chingy?
Doesn't hold up.
Can you guys hear this if I play it on the
It's really faded.
It's
not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. We're just gonna have to sing them.
I was trying to you guys are the ones with the albums, not me. So
Dude, I'm still, you know what?
Chris, this is where things are going to get off the rails.
Chris for 2.
I'm still pissed at the hate for the Sesame Street. That's just disrespectful.
There's one more that I know you're going to take, and I'll just whatever. Go ahead.
All right. Now there's added pressure. So this one I went back and forth with this one or Sesame Street. I went with Sesame Street. The Golden Girls.
Good song.
The Golden Girls. I was going to start by just talking out the words.
Damn it, guest.
But your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
Yeah.
And if you threw a party and invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me. And the card attached would say, "Thank you for being a friend."
Guess that was going to ice it for me if that came back.
That great song.
All right, so is that justified?
No, it still doesn't make up for Sesame Street at one.
That's insane.
I'd make an argument that Golden Girls is number one. Golden Girls.
That's what I'm saying. No. I was back and forth between those two.
Unbelievable theme song. Because think about it. How many people do you know that watch that show?
Dude, I've got 7th graders that sing the song.
Yeah, like that song, everyone knows somehow, but no one watched that show.
I was going to say that. Well, I go to bed with the show at this point now, but I'm an OG at this point. But I mean, when I was younger, I didn't really know what I was looking at. And also, when we were younger, when it was on, we didn't know what it was. Like we didn't know what was going on. But now as an adult, it's got funny humor.
Well, I did know that. Is it Blanche is the big whore?
She's yeah.
I didn't know that when I was a kid.
Dude, there's so many funny jokes that they do on Blanche. It's awesome. Blanche is the smut. And I believe what is it?
Rue? Is that the other
Rose?
One? Rose.
Well, Rue McClanahan is the one that played Blanche.
Rue McClanahan. That's yeah.
But I think Betty White was Rose. Rose was the one that was like ditzy and kind of goofy.
Mm-hmm.
But B. Arthur was Dorothy, and she was like the witty one.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome. It's an awesome show, but the theme song is iconic.
Yeah, theme song's great. All right, you're up for another one though.
All right, so as soon as my screen unlocks, it was Jesus. All right, so Al, you took my Fresh Prince. Jefferson's you took. So now I got to go to my 5. This one SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh my god! Come on, dude. Are you trying to win these drafts?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Come
Dude,
on.
if you go online and look up like on YouTube and you see like these like some of these lists, like they have that like consistently top 10.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, this is where
It's beyond our. It was a little bit past our time, but like they have like SpongeBob freaking nights at baseball games. Like the guy like
Yeah, no, SpongeBob is popular, but
well, but that it spawned from the song.
yes, there's so many other better songs, man.
I told you I got like 40 songs on here, but
Well,
that
just pick one of those.
I'm going by like how do I word this? Like if any person of like, I mean, there's like parents and grandparents that know it because of their kids or grandkids. Like it transcends just a specific generation. It's multiple generations.
Let me ask you this. Do you know the words to it other than the when he yells SpongeBob SquarePants?
I don't gotta know the words for it. That's it.
What?
Something about who's the something under the sea. SpongeBob
Chris's TV routine is SpongeBob, Golden Girls, and Sesame Street.
Yeah, man. And that's another thing. I'm going for a diverse group of shows here. Well, so everybody can enjoy the Chris guest list. You don't have to be born in the 80s or 90s to enjoy my list.
All right, Al, back to you.
All right, I got here's another banger. Classic. It's an actual song, but just fits so well with the opening credits and with just the whole vibe of the show itself. And I'm talking about The Wonder Years.
Good song. I had a
What would you do if I sang Attitude?
So what, we going by the words to it? It's got to be a higher ranked song.
No, but I mean that certainly helps because it just proves like how much of like it gets stuck in your head. I mean that's what I would say. Like if I went down the street and asked somebody to recite the Fresh Prince theme song, they probably know every word. But SpongeBob SquarePants are just going to scream SpongeBob SquarePants in my face.
But that. Oh God!
All right, so the Wonder Years goes at 3rd round, 2nd pick, and you guys are just leaving me songs I would have possibly taken in the 1st round.
Sales, before you go any further, I will say it was you, Al, that said earlier about the question with the real songs or not.
Yeah.
So I that was one of the shows where I was like on the fence because of that reason. Like I didn't know if we could put more or less weight on the fact that it was an actual record without the show,
right?
Versus so, but it does fit.
All right, I'm gonna take 2 sitcoms, kind of the same era. I guess one was a little bit more recent than the other, but both 90 shows, primetime sitcoms. But Full House falling to the end of the 2nd round.
You taking all the white shows, guys.
I have an even whiter one coming up next.
Jesus.
But Full House, everywhere you look, and then you see, all the
49er rats
Danny
that are on
Tanner.
the
street. You see Stamos.
Danny Tanner's he's wiping down the counter, and then Stamos is leaning on the motorcycle.
Kimmy Gibbler makes a pop in.
Oh yeah, why'd she have the stinkiest feet?
Yeah, dude, that was such a good shtick. Gibbler's feet. Remember the episodes they get pulled over because she got her feet hanging outside the car?
Dude, how about in hindsight? How about Lori Loughlin being the biggest scumbag on the whole show?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: is that the hottest TV couple of all time? Uncle Jesse and Aunt Beth?
Now, see, they were ahead of their times because if they were now, their OnlyFans would have made a killing.
Oh boy.
Getting a little risque in here.
Let me think. I don't know. But that's a good
That's
question.
up there.
Yeah, that's my
That
pick.
Stamos' hair is.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Just both of them. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, the other one would be like if we were a little older, and I don't think anybody's going to take this in the draft, but Step by Step with Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Summers. That's another.
Yeah, that's
Nah, that's not. That's
that's an ourtime.com.
That's a knockout.
I have Step by Step on my list. Probably not drafting it, but up for discussion.
It's on my list, but that's a reach.
It's not drafted. Yeah, not for a top 5, not for the top 15. But then again, you guys don't like Sesame Street, so I don't know. Who knows what you guys?
But this next one I have is going to be a reach because it's a song that I like more than it is iconic. I think it's maybe one of the best theme songs of all time, and that's Growing Pains.
It first.
Growing Pains theme song. It's tremendous.
Show me that smile. Show me.
Yeah, who knows all the words to that?
Dude, it's a great theme. Go play it for yourself.
I know the song, but
Fantastic.
I'm saying, like,
I know it may not be iconic, but I was drafting it because it's my favorite theme song that's out there.
I have one that I'm going to try to not draft, but because you drafted that, I might draft it. The thing for me, Adam, is all of those like TV theme songs went through eras, and in the '90s, they all had that same sound.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a great sound.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, underrated cast there: Alan Thicke, Kirk Cameron, Alyssa Milano, all budding stars.
Wait, what's that? What was that
Alyssa
one?
Milano that was Who's the Boss?
Oh, you're right. My bad. It wasn't Alyssa Milano. My bad. My bad.
No, what was
also a good theme song, by the way.
That one joke with like the kids' underwear or something. Like, didn't you used to love that?
What?
Like the kid says, like, that's my name. It's on my underwear or something in Growing Pains. Isn't the kid's
I didn't watch a ton of the show.
I think the kid's name is Boner, and then he's like, "That's my name. It's on my underwear."
Jesus, I don't know. Like I said, Celtics picking all the shows that I can't relate to.
Yes, don't act like you didn't watch Full House.
Well, yeah, Full House I was in on. Full House I was in on.
I got something for you in the last round.
I'm gonna pick it before you get to it because I know what you're gonna put.
Maybe. I'm between a couple of them.
I got a few here, and I don't know if I just want to go for the jugular with the fan vote or if I want to take a couple risky picks. See, this is what always happens to me because I feel like you guys have take some risky picks, so I feel like I have to do it.
Live by your,
Is
live
it
by
me
your
or
own
Al?
rules, Al.
What's that? It's me, guess.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna go with I'm going to go with what is legitimately one of the best songs. It should have been taken higher, and it might lose me the fan vote, but I don't care. It's going with the theme of my team here. I'm going with Sanford and Son. That song.
I've been humming that song all night.
That song is a banger.
That was my next pick.
Da, 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 da.
You know who produced that?
Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. Dude, I used to watch that at night. There was an episode where there was a Red Fox lookalike contest, and the Red Fox, the actual dude playing the grandfather, was pissed because he couldn't get in. He didn't win the contest. It was great.
That's a good show.
You know who produced that song?
No.
The world famous Quincy Jones.
Oh, dude, his fingerprints are all over everything.
Yeah, Quincy
as far
Jones.
as classic television goes.
That was my next pick. So
yeah, I've been humming. Like I said, I've been humming that beat all night.
I mean, that's the classic beat, and that's one of the, like, if you could have categories, we could have done this draft with just instrumental.
Yeah, absolutely.
Songs, you know what I mean? Because there's no words in that. It's still great.
Is it still you, Al?
No, it's you for
you got
Chris.
two.
All right, although Chris love the kids, as seen by my previous picks, I'm gonna also stay with the urban television, and I'm gonna go Good Times.
Oh, I knew. Yeah, I had a feeling.
Not getting hustled, not getting bustled. Now that song I know all the words to. I could go bar for bar with that.
That's a classic song,
including the remember on the Chappelle show that when he asked the people about the lyrics, and when it's like, "Hey, you didn't tell that," and no one knows what it is, and he's like, "It's actually hanging in a chow line."
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I'll go good times, and then I'm gonna go because we got a diverse list here, man.
So wait, guess before we move on from good times, there's a little asterisk here. It says the season 1 DVD box set has the lyric as hanging in the tail line. However, the writers confirmed that it's actually hanging in and jiving.
See, now I think hanging in the chow line makes more sense though, based on the gimmick of the show.
I think so too.
Because hanging in and jiving is like, yeah, but everybody's doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like, they made a show about living in the projects, like, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, now I will say there's a debate in the Black community as far as if folks outside the Black community watch that show genuinely to enjoy it and laugh with the people, or if they were laughing at them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a laugh is a laugh. And then
I mean, for the sake of the money that they made or whatever, I'm sure. I guess you're right, but I'm gonna go outside the box with this next one, which I guess I've already done once, or twice maybe, according to Al. I'm gonna go with The Price is Right.
All right, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with The Price is Right on the. We're gonna go instrumental route.
I'm blanking. Give me the theme.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's another one iconic, been on the TV for 50 years.
Yeah, no.
I'm going for longevity.
What's great is that they remixed it when someone does something shitty, when they mess up, they just take the beginning part and slow it down.
Yo, wait a minute. Is that what that is?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I never knew that.
Oh, man.
I didn't know that either.
I
Think
didn't know
about it.
that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Wow.
Yeah,
you learned something on the screen of Keystone. Oh, and by the way, the true number one should have been the drop that beat in the beginning of 3 in the Keystone.
It's not a TV theme.
I'm gonna name it "Drop That Beat." That's gonna be the name of it.
All right, Al, last pick.
I won't say what I thought. Obviously we're gonna riff after this. I'm really surprised that there's one that didn't make your list, and I'm seriously surprised, guys. I'll mention that afterwards. I'm between two here, and I'll go with the show that I actually watched. And it's another instrumental, and it's another banger of a beat. I don't know if you guys are fans of this show, The Office.
No, that was
The Office is probably one of the best theme songs of the last 20 years, because obviously TV's gone away from TV intros.
Right.
Yep.
So for them to just play a 30-second beat and it be the banger that it is, it's a great
good,
beat.
but there's too many other better ones that are out there.
There's a lot of but Al, The Office was right there for me too. That was what I was between with The Price is Right and The Office for the 5th pick. So I'm glad that you picked it though, because I'm glad that somebody had it on one of their lists, because it is a great song.
In The Office's heyday, when it was out, like bands were covering it at concerts.
Right.
Like it was huge when it was out.
And like if you go to like a trivia night or something, like, and they have that as a category and they play like the dun dun dun, everyone's like, oh, it's The Office.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows.
Yeah, I think it was the best of the rest? I don't, but you know what? I like The Office. I like that.
I got the box set. I love it. That's a great show.
Well, let me ask you this though: how much did you love it after Michael Scott left? Because I hated it.
I didn't mind it as much as so a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was all right, because I thought Robert California was so outrageous that it made it funny. And like when he had like when he had the party at his house and it was like a kinky, like weird, like sex thing and all that, like that, like out of the blue, like that, I thought that was hilarious. But he's not Michael Scott, but I still think it was good.
I just thought they turned all the characters way up to like obnoxious levels of themselves. Like all of a sudden, Kevin was like borderline, like remedial. I don't say the word. Like he was a complete idiot. They made Andy an absolute asshole. And I didn't like Will Ferrell on it. I thought Will Ferrell was like just obnoxious.
I just thought it was funny because his name was like Tyrone or something, like a black name he had.
Yeah.
So originally I read that they were supposed to have Pam and Jim get a divorce.
Yeah, and it didn't test well or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I thought that was kind of intriguing if that ended like that.
Yeah. Well, I like looking back on it through the lens of Jim being the villain of the show.
Oh, 100%.
right?
He's a scumbag.
Yeah,
He thought he was the
asshole.
man.
Dude, he's a total asshole. He takes
Yeah,
a chick that's engaged, right? He makes her cheat on him with her, and then he's always screwing around with Dwight, who's just trying to earn an honest buck. Like,
yeah, Dwight's awesome.
This dude's an ass.
Dwight is such a like in real life. Dwight would be such like a QAnon, like Trumper, like MAGA dude. No doubt in my mind.
He'd be deep in the web.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, but that's a great one though.
Seltzer, we gave you a lot of time here to think about this last pick.
Yeah, I'm stuck in between. And I don't want to go all white, but I might just seal it up with an obvious pick here. Again, we're going iconic here. Maybe not my favorite theme song, one I mentioned earlier in the text, but
Wait,
the
let me
Brady
guess.
Bunch has to get
I was
drafted.
gonna say okay.
The Brady Bunch has to get drafted.
Well, for the record,
It's a great song.
Earlier before we came on and we were texting about it, about the segment, and you had mentioned it. I felt like it was. I assumed that you were going to have it on your list.
Yeah, I didn't want to take it. I was hoping one of you guys would take it, but again, if you're talking iconic, it's top
Oh, it's
five,
one of
I think, as far as you hear it and you know exactly what it is, you know the words,
Yeah.
you know the story. So that'll wrap it up. Al, you want to run through the draft before we riff off another million theme songs?
Yeah, you got it. So Chris's 5 picks in order: Sesame Street, Golden Girls, SpongeBob SquarePants, Good Times, and The Price is Right. My 5 picks in order: The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Jeffersons, The Wonder Years, Sanford and Son, and The Office. Adam's 5 picks in order: Friends, Cheers, Full House, Growing Pains, The Brady Bunch. Not a black actor to be found.
No. Or a person of color, period.
Well, if we're going to start ripping, my other option at that point was going to be a story about a white man who adopted 2 black kids at different strokes. So I didn't want to go there.
We gotta check, dude. Now, man.
Different Strokes, a great theme song.
That is a good. Yeah, that was a good show.
It was a good show. It was a good show. Chris, I'm shocked you didn't take Sopranos. I was
Sopranos.
not it.
Yeah, it's on there, but dude, it's a deep like TV's hard, man. It's so many out. Sopranos was like it was in the top 10 for me, but it wasn't. Just going by 5, I couldn't put it in there. I couldn't. fit
So
it.
let's just rattle off. We'll go one at a time since we have so many. So Chris, why don't you just give me one and we'll just keep rattling.
Well, aside from Sopranos, you're saying?
Yeah.
The another one I was right there on was The Simpsons.
We were never a Simpsons family in the Seltzer house. I can tell you that.
I was as a kid.
I was too. Yeah, my wife has never. Sarah's never seen The Simpsons. It's only been on for freaking 1,000 years.
I haven't
don't know
seen
how
any of them. I can tell you that.
I honestly think South Park might even be a better song than The Simpsons. South Park or Family Guy.
Well, Family Guy is up there too. I don't know about South Park is like niche-y kind of like, but like Family Guy and The Simpsons are more. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't.
The Simpsons lost points for me because for so long they didn't play the whole song. Like once they got to like season like 5 or 6, they did that short version of the intro and they didn't play the whole song.
Yeah.
So the best of the rest, I know we're going one at a time. I'll just do one at a time here. I was thinking of taking the OC.
Yeah, I have it on the list.
I didn't watch the OC.
Oh,
so
great show.
That's a great song.
Great song, great show. Chris hates it. I get it.
Yeah. No.
Chris Brown was on that show though. There were some brothers in that show.
Oh, there you go, Chris.
Chris Brown.
A domestic violence.
I think he played the role of like homeless man number 3.
Yeah, probably.
I have Gilligan's Island.
That was on my list.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Back to you, Chris.
How about one of our favorite shows, especially when we come up from school to watch, Law and Order.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Dun,
I equate that more to because isn't that the song they play at Phillies games that they used to play at Phillies games when they would announce the umps at the beginning of the game?
Yeah.
But that shows you how iconic. I mean, they use it for multiple purposes.
I never put that together. That was what they used for the Phillies games.
Yeah.
Here's a favorite for our listeners, probably Saved by the Bell.
So Sarah and I were in a heated debate about that one because I said I think it's more generational than overall iconic.
It is.
But like if it was for like me, I would definitely have that in the top 5. But as far as like I thought like maybe like again, my scope was I was trying to see like stuff that various generations would know of. I don't know if you'd have like a 50-year-old or more know necessarily what not to say about the Bell theme, but it's a great. I think it's great.
I don't love the song. I don't know why. I don't love the song. The bell is iconic at the beginning.
Not only do I know the song, but I know every episode. I've seen, like, it's one of my favorite shows.
I think I've seen every episode.
Every episode, I could tell you what's going to happen in the first 5 seconds of the episode, like what the episode is by just like the intro when they're like, this is when so and so does whatever. I can just tell off the bat.
What's your favorite season?
Saved by the Bell, probably 3. Three is like the meat and potatoes, like when they were in their prime.
Gotcha. Like the beach season's all right. The early years,
Malibu Sands.
Yeah.
I'm not and never have been a fan of that show.
What?
One of the few of our generation. I never got into it.
Oh, man.
Yes. College years is underrated. It's not that bad.
No.
When's the
Professor
biker
Lasky?
No, it's.
When was the biker chick that like Zach?
That's a bad season.
Yeah, that was the last one.
That's rough.
But then it was weird because Kelly and Jesse had an issue with their contracts and weren't really in that season. But then they came back for the graduation episode. I think they had to. But yeah, that season was rough.
Yeah.
And why would Zach ever, like, how you gonna go from Kelly to Tori?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
We all know Zach Morris is a scumbag based on the what was it, Amazon or YouTube, whatever that you ever see Zach Morris's trash things?
Yeah. It was like Zach Morris is total scum or something like that.
Zach Morris is trash. Yeah. Al, you ever see
Zach
those?
Morris is trash. Exactly.
No,
so if you go online and find it's Zach Morris is trash, and there's like 2 seasons worth, and it's like 5 to 10 minute little snippet episodes, and they explain various episodes of Saved by the Bell, and they explain to you how and why Zach is a scumbag based on what he does in the episode.
Very similar to what you're saying with Jim from The Office.
Yeah.
They portray Zach as the villain.
But he might be even worse. Like literally every episode, he messes up, screws over somebody.
Yes. Were you a big Franklin and Bash guy?
No.
Starring Mark Paul Gosselaar?
No. No, but the guy, what's his name? What's the other guy?
Who, Franklin or Bash?
I don't know. I never the other non-Mark Paul Gosselaar guy. Everybody that been one of them's wives is from here. I remember. I think it's the other guy, and I saw an interview one time on like Today's Show or something when the show was on, and they said that their wife is from the Philadelphia area.
Seltzer, I have like 15 more. If you want to get...
I was just say I got a while.
All right, let's go quick then. Al, give me one.
Baywatch.
Good one.
Glad you said that one too. You haven't heard that much about that one.
I have Family Matters. If you want to get Family Matters.
Sarah predicted that would be on your list. She knows you like some Family Matters.
I mean, I didn't draft it. It's on my honorable mention.
No, but I'm saying she was like, I bet you Celtics are gonna have Family Matters on there, and you probably should have to diversify your list.
It just gets lumped in with all those 90s songs. They're all the same song.
Well, I think it's the same group or like the producer guys.
It's like the WWF. That one dude used to sing.
Jim Johnson, I think.
Yes. Well, no, the dude that sang with the DX song and the Xbox song. He sang.
Oh, well, Well, Jim Johnson was the guy that produced.
Right, he was the producer.
Entrance song. Yeah. So, one of maybe the best cartoon one ever, the Flintstones.
Yeah, Flintstones and the Jetsons.
Yeah,
great.
Flintstones is iconic.
I was talking to somebody earlier about cartoons, and he said Doug. And I forgot Doug's theme music. I played it. That Doug is
Doug's awesome. Those are my favorite cartoons.
Okay.
Such a good beat.
I love Doug. I'm a big
all right.
Doug
It's definitely not a top 15 TV theme song.
Well, no.
But if you're going cartoons, my favorite cartoon theme of all time is actually DuckTales.
That's all. Yeah.
Great song.
Great song.
Yeah.
Also, the Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. That was somebody said that.
I don't know. The most iconic cartoon song, David the Gnome.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, is that when he's like, the no?
Look around. There are many things to see. Yeah, at the end, guess you will find the kingdom of the no.
I have no idea who that is.
Look it up, dude.
I haven't thought of that show since you just like that.
That's legitimately my favorite cartoon theme song.
What was that? Nick Jr.
Yeah, Nick Jr.
with remember the Tales of Richard Scarry?
Yeah,
Remember that?
Maya the Bee,
Or Gullah Gullah Island?
yeah, that was a little
Megan
later.
said Gullah Gullah Island earlier.
Yeah, that was
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah.
Would you categorize that as a cartoon or
No, that was a game show.
Right, that's what I say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do I have on here? Oh, here's a slept on one. X-Files.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a controversial one. Although, so listen, we've all been in the experience where we're sitting in the room and our wives control the television, correct?
Mhm.
We're watching a show. Very popular show right now on Bravo is Vanderpump Rules, and my wife is hooked.
I've never
But
seen it.
the theme song is fire, dude. The theme
I had no idea. I never even heard of the show.
give it you never heard of it? It's like the
Oh.
biggest thing in pop culture
Yeah,
right now.
it's the biggest show out right now, guys.
Really?
You know it? You know the theme song now? You don't like the theme
No,
song?
I don't know it at all, but I
Give
don't even, I
it,
couldn't
give it
name
a quick
person.
YouTube real quick.
I couldn't name a person on the show.
Is it a reality show or is it?
Yeah, it's real. It's one of
Wait a
those
minute.
Bravo shows.
We didn't play any of the songs we drafted. I damn sure I'm not playing Vanderpump
I was going
Rules
to say, but I'll say that afterwards. I'll say that
or
afterwards.
draft like that.
What about Oh, go ahead, Al.
Happy Days?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
up there. That's up there. Actually, my favorite sitcom didn't even make my list, but Three's Company.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I
good one.
love. That's one of my favorite. That might be my favorite. That might be my favorite sitcom. More
Is
think
it
about
Full House when he's Jesse's trying to find the words to Three's Company? Is that
Yeah.
yeah.
Something, the thing, Three's
Yeah,
Company.
that other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Tripper was the man.
The only other one I only listed 20. I have 2 left. Hawaii 5-0.
Oh yeah.
And then I actually did have Al, believe it or not, I had Survivor at the beginning.
I know you did.
That's for
Yeah.
that scream. You know, I got to shout out that my show. So those were my 20. I think we got through all of them. I had Step by Step as well. We talked about that briefly, but that's
That's a
it.
great song. That's a great song. It's just another one that just they all blend together. They're all the
Yeah,
same.
yeah, for sure.
The 190 show that I wanted to pick personally, is because it's my favorite from that era, is Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, good song. I forgot about that.
Great song. And what's great, if you YouTube the intro, people from all over the world have made their own version of the Perfect Strangers intro. You know, when like they're walking and the wind's blowing and they can't like walk down the street. It's phenomenal.
Bronson Pinchot.
Bronson Pinchot. And was it Mark Lynn Baker? He's
Something like
in
that.
Succession.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I also had. You didn't mention Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah.
That was a little bit more generational too. That's more like an 80s. Bless you. And again, because Chris loved the kids, Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, good.
Butterfly in the sky.
You know, how about Mr. Rogers? Like, does that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to some family about this the other night, and we're talking about Mr. Rogers. You can't take it; it's just too creepy. It's like it's creepy.
Nah, but it was a different time. Like that.
Yeah,
like,
no, I get it, but right now you're creepy.
now it'd be like if that came on now, people would be like, "Yo, this cat is out there."
Yeah,
but
that
like
doesn't
in the
work.
back when he started, like he was totally wholesome. He didn't mean that. My
Nobody
thing was,
said
where the hell did he
Wire,
go every
and
day?
I'm glad nobody said The Wire. I'm not a fan of this.
No, and they change it every season. And
That's
it got
what I
It's the
worse.
same song. It's just different versions of
Yeah, but
it.
it got worse every season.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know.
Here's my I got 7 left. One Tree Hill, which was Gavin DeGraw.
Right.
I don't want to be anything other than what I mean. The A Team,
I thought about that late. Yeah.
Green Acres, all that. Talking about Nickelodeon shows.
That's generational too, though. But
Yeah.
yeah.
California Dreams, another one generational, super niche also.
Yeah.
And then personal favorite of mine. Did either of you guys watch Rescue Me on FX with Dennis Leary?
No, but I saw.
I know
somebody
what it
say-
is. I
I
didn't
saw
watch it,
somebody
though.
shoot an Instagram message.
Fantastic song. It's a real song, and then they used it for the TV show. And then guest, Living Single.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, shoot. Dude, I think we talked about that before. Like that's a banger.
That is a banger,
correct
dude.
on there.
I keep your head up. What? Keep your head up.
Yeah, man, that beat's
Yeah.
hard.
That's a great song.
So that's one definitely. Thinking about old ones too, like Twilight Zone, that's which stood the test of time. Like even people are like, "Yo, that person's crazy." They're out there. They'll be like, "Do do 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 do." Like
Yeah.
that's still the song from that. Outside the box, Jeopardy.
Yeah, I was thinking that when you said Price is Right, I thought
Yeah,
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy's a good one.
The like first version of it though was bad. It was
Oh
really,
yeah.
it was really not great.
Also, people don't recognize or realize all the time that Jeopardy actually is spelled with an exclamation point at the end. So people forget that.
Should be a
That-
question mark.
That it should be, but that trademark, that hey, it's important. That exclamation point. I think that's the gist of. I think that's all I had.
Can I just throw one out there? It's a great show, and the songs sucked during a time when songs were great. Boy Meets World.
Yeah,
The original one was
All three of the songs sucked. They had
Yeah.
3 different songs, and they all were terrible.
very strange. It was like
Yeah.
a space thing. The first one. It
First
sounded
one
like it
was
were
that-
like.
Yeah, the nerdy instrumental.
Well, I think because what do you call it? Feeney was a science teacher, right?
Yeah, and they
So maybe
had
that's why they.
Minkus
tied
was a
into
big
that.
character on the show then.
Minkus.
Yeah.
Boy Meets World's a fantastic show.
Great show, just terrible theme songs. And then you had When This Boy Meets World. Then it was
Yeah,
like,
it was just awful.
yeah.
I will say one song, theme song that I was thinking about because it always, for whatever reason, makes me get like a little verklempt. Is you remember Shining Time Station on PBS? It was kind of like it was a trains. It was kind of like Thomas Tank Engine.
I like
You're a
I didn't
shining
watch it.
time station where dreams can come true. Like, remember that?
I didn't
Dude,
watch
I don't know what it is. That song always makes me like think about like I don't know, but I get all like feel some kind of way when I hear that. You guys have any of those like songs like that where you're just like it takes you to that kind of weird place like that?
It's probably Growing Pains for me. That's my
Yeah,
that's the one for me.
yeah.
David the Gnome is a. I'm still laughing at that.
That's-
I've heard that song in forever.
Guess when we close, I'll sing the whole thing for you. I used to want to play it at our wedding. I told Casey I wanted to be our first dance song. She'll tell you, dude. I used to sing it all the time.
I'll tell you another one that had a funny part that is Family Ties. The sha la la at the end.
I don't know that one.
I don't
Family
remember.
Ties was Michael J. Fox.
No, I know who it is. I don't know the theme song.
Oh yeah. What do we do, baby?
There's not many.
Without love.
Nobody said the Drew Carey show. Ohio.
Yeah, they had a couple different songs too.
Yeah.
The one that I think if we did this in 10 years that might make my list is I know I post about it all the time on Instagram. Succession. That song is
Because
a banger.
well, so oh my gosh, what's his name? Nicholas Britell is the composer of that. And he also he won I think he won an Oscar he did the score for Moonlight. And he does other shows too, but he has for something, especially that one, he has a little hip hop undertones in it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a banger. We had a argument before we got on here, Sarah and I, about Game of Thrones. And I said, because Ramin Djawadi is another one that's a great TV score composer. And he did that. He did Westworld. He's done other show. But Game of Thrones might be arguably the greatest. Some people would say it's the best show of all time. So that you got to have their song on the list. But I don't know. I thought it was, in a weird way, I thought it was even bigger than TV, the music.
But as somebody, because I didn't watch it.
Oh, no, I'm not a Thrones guy.
Tell me, guest, from everything I heard from everybody I know in my life that watched it, which is literally everybody in my life, they all said that the last season ruined it.
I wasn't as hard on the last season as some people were. There were some, I think, positives out of it, but the House of the Dragon has totally pushed aside the last Game of Thrones season if you didn't like that, because House of the Dragon was so good.
How many is House of the Dragon over or?
Yeah, it's well, no, I mean it was only one season so far.
Okay.
But I mean that's been over for a year now, but it was phenomenal. And it might even be better than Game of Thrones, or on the trajectory to be better than Game of Thrones, because it focuses on this one specific house versus all of the houses in that area of the world at the time, like Game of Thrones did. So it makes it a lot more drama, a lot more like personal connection to the characters, I think. So, but I don't know. I was just thinking, and they use the same theme song for that too. It's the same.
Did you guys
same
see
score.
that the Ringer put out the list of their greatest series finales of all time? I think it came out.
That's a whole. That's a.
Oh,
I didn't see that, but that's a great segment.
Yeah, Sopranos was number 1. Friday Night Lights was number 2.
How,
Yeah.
how would you guys have felt if I put the NBA on NBC theme song?
I thought about it.
No, it's not a TV theme song.
Well, but you know what? I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the Fox football, and I was also thinking about NBC Nightly News.
What about
Those three are all been on for a
NHL
long
on
time.
ESPN's nice too.
That too. Yeah. That's actually that's. But like again, if you think about like just iconic, like when you hear it, you just know exactly what it's from, what it is. Like the Nightly News thing is kind of slept on, and I mean millions of people watch that every night.
Yeah, but it's not top 15. It's
Oh
it's,
no.
It's
I'm
in the
saying,
conversation to talk about,
yeah.
but it's not top 15.
I gotta look up. That was the Ringer that had that article about the
Yeah, it
finales.
was. Yeah, the Ringer had it. It was I think it was the top 50 maybe.
I hate that they had to have that,
But
I would probably agree with that though. Sopranos being number 1, it's up there.
yeah, the end of Sopranos is really good.
I mean, it's still talked about 15 years later.
Yeah, I think The Wire. We talked about The Wire last season, maybe. Wire was like 5 or 6 on there.
The last episode of The Wire is fine. Just the last season was a stretch.
Yeah, agreed. The last season's definitely the worst, but the final episode, it wraps up nicely.
I'm really, really looking forward to this series finale of Succession because that show could be propelled into the top 5 immediately if they nail this.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it. I watched the first season and then the beginning of season 2, and I fell off. But once it's over, I'll get to it at some point. But let's wrap it up because we're pushing 2.5 hours here, boys. Any final thoughts before I guess we're up against Memorial Day next week. We're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do for that. But any plans for the big weekend?
Not that I know of.
I mean, aside from coming to the crib, having people at the crib, like
maybe we do a live show.
I'm with that.
Saturday night, live audience.
Al could bring his boy Elon Musk over.
3K.
We could watch the what's his name? The gnome. I already forgot.
David the gnome.
David the gnome.
Remember the fox? The fox's name was Swift.
Of course it was.
Remember the gnome kisses? They would rub the noses.
Yeah, I remember. I just remember I watched Nick Jr. all the time when I was homesick.
Yeah,
absolutely. That was what it was good for at that time.
Stickly.
Yeah,
that was way pre-Stickly.
Yeah, that was like that wasn't even Nick Jr. That was I don't remember what they called the afternoon.
That was the summertime thing.
That was when Nickelodeon would still just have like the weird, creepy commercials with like the weird cartoons. And they would just sing the song Nick.
No, with David the Gnome and Richard Scarry and all that was the bull. Face was the guy. Bull Face. Yeah. Remember Face?
Yeah, but Face was still after that. Like David the Gnome was like early 90s, man.
Yeah, that was.
But speaking of beats and good beats to have, why don't we drop that beat?